Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at Noon.
Right now at noon, bear down. The Chicago Bears are in the playoffs after 5 long years. We'll tell you how fans are reacting. The Christmas travel rush is here, and if you're planning to hit the road today, well, you can expect some company. Are you dreaming of a white Christmas? Unfortunately, we're going to be out of luck this year, but this could be one of the warmest holidays in years. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us at noon. I'm Natalie Bumke. Hey, it's Victory Monday. The Chicago Bears punched their ticket to the playoffs for the first time since 2020. Roseanne Tellez caught up with fans to see how they're still feeling this Monday morning.
It started as an emotional roller coaster of a weekend, but it has turned to joy for Bears fans. So excited about, first, the Bears win on Saturday night against the Packers, and then, of course, the Lions losing to the Steelers thanks to, with the help of all people, Aaron Rodgers. A lot of Bears fans rooting for Aaron this Sunday. So there's a lot of excitement. Fans are pumped up going forward. We came to the White Palace Grill to ask them how they're feeling about their Bears. Emotionally exhausting, weren't they?
Yes, it was. I was stretched out in the bed watching it. It was just exciting.
It was overwhelming. Like, to be down so much and then to have everything turn in the last 2 minutes was just like incredible. And then to just have a team like Caleb Williams ran around the entire stadium high-fiving all the fans. Like, you just don't necessarily get that spark from other teams, and just Chicago does it so much different.
Ben Johnson's excellent coach. I like how he holds everybody accountable. Everybody's excited. I love seeing the locker room where you seeing everybody in there, the coaches, the CEO, the president. Everybody's in there, and everybody's enjoying it. Now I got to find me a cheese grater hat. That's an order. First time I actually cheered for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. And the last time.
Boy, it really got me going, because at the end, I was like, oh, my God. But when he got that touchdown at the end, and I said, okay, we doing something. And then we got the overtime, and then that really, really excited me.
Looking downfield, watching downfield, going for it!
Making everybody nervous to the very last second, and it really makes the excitement worth it.
Nail biters.
Oh, absolutely nail biters.
A lot of fans really feeling what Ben Johnson said, that this is a special team, a special group of guys, and they are, yes, daring to dream that maybe this year will be the year for the Chicago Bears. Roseanne Tellez, Fox Chicago.
I feel it more than ever. Thank you, Roseanne. Boy, a ton of people out there. I know school is out for winter break. Look at all those families enjoying the bean and the ice skating rink there, Caitlin.
Fun. I haven't seen this angle where we have the ice skating rink.
I know, isn't it fabulous?
And it's wonderful weather for that today. Temperatures are mild. It's cloudy, but it's dry. We're in the 40s. So if you want to go ice skating, or even just walk around downtown, today's the day to do it. Tomorrow we've got a little more sunshine, but the mild weather, that's actually going to carry on. Satellite radar does show the quiet conditions for us now. Mostly cloudy skies, and we do have the chance for a touch of drizzle later on this afternoon. Right now, though, it's quiet. We just have the temperatures in the 40s, 44 degrees at O'Hare, 43 at the lakefront, a few of us in the 30s, like our western counties, 39 degrees from Aurora to Morris, 37, and DeKalb, and 38 in Waukegan. Our day planner has temperatures right around the low 40s all the way through this evening. 5 p.m., still cloudy, around 40 degrees. But take a look at this 3-day forecast. So tomorrow, it's going to be partly sunny. So I mentioned more sunshine and even warmer, 46 degrees. So today, we could see some drizzle in spots. Tomorrow, there's no rain in the forecast, but Wednesday, so Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we have the chance for some rain. And on Christmas Day, Thursday, some of you are going to be in the 50s. So south of the city could be in the 50s. We'll take a look at your full forecast, including that weekend outlook ahead.
Thank you, Caitlin. Chicago police are investigating a deadly double hit and run on the south side. Police say that a gray Grand Cherokee, this one, hit 2 pedestrians yesterday near South Marshfield Avenue in the Morgan Park neighborhood. Both victims were killed. The SUV has since been recovered. However, the driver has not been identified. If you recognize the vehicle or have any information, you can contact the Major Accident Investigation Unit of Chicago Police. And Chicago police are also looking for a group of teenagers who they say badly beat someone on a CTA bus. Take a look at these pictures. Police say the suspects assaulted the 62-year-old victim on the Cicero Avenue bus along the 700 block of South Cicero Avenue last Tuesday. They say the victim's injuries are extensive and that person remains in the hospital. Illinois lawmakers visited the Broadview ICE Processing Center today. Congressman Chuy Garcia, you can see there, Danny Davis, Delia Ramirez, and Jonathan Jackson all there. They had a federal order that showed lawmakers cannot be blocked from conducting oversight at that facility. Back in June, the representatives tried to visit the facility after receiving reports that it was unlawfully detaining migrants. They were denied. Congresswoman Ramirez says their oversight, though, is far from done.
Due process continues to be violated for the people that are taken to Broadview, and we will continue to come in here and we will continue to hold Kristi Noem, Gregory Bavino, this Broadview Processing Center, and every detention facility accountable.
The lawmakers said the facility has only 3 bathrooms for up to 80 people or more and offers no privacy with toilets inside holding cells with no separation. They also said there is no medical staff on site in case of a medical emergency. Right now, we're waiting to see if Mayor Brandon Johnson will veto the alternative budget plan. A city council budget committee meeting is set to begin within the next hour. Chicago City Council passed a $16 billion spending plan over the weekend, but it rejects Johnson's proposal to reestablish the so-called head tax on large city businesses. The alternative budget plan was crafted by conservative and moderate alders, along with some members of the Progressive Coalition. It raises a number of taxes on liquor and gambling, raises some fees, also will sell the city's uncollected debt to a private debt collection agency. Our political reporter Paris Schutz will have much more for you coming up at 12:30.
We have to create a synergy in this city to bring businesses back into this city. Businesses are the ones that make this city grow. We have to grow jobs and opportunity. We can't keep hitting businesses over the head saying, don't come to Chicago.
I know that losing the battle does not mean that we have lost the war. And so though we may not have the majority of the council, we do have the people.
You are hearing their reaction from the budget passage on Saturday. Now, if the mayor rejects the budget, it's going to go back to the council. The mayor has said he will do whatever it takes to avoid a government shutdown. And right now we've got 8 days until that could happen. Today, Reverend Jesse Jackson is back home after being released from an acute facility over the weekend. His family says he was treated for several infections related to the progression of a neurological disorder. They add that they're grateful for the prayers and support they've received during this time. The White Sox introducing their biggest signing of the offseason. The team holding a news conference for Munetaka Murakami. I had to practice that a lot. Munetaka Murakami. We're going to be saying it, though, a lot this season. He got to put on his number 5 jersey. The White Sox agreed to a 2-year, $34 million deal with the Japanese slugger. Murakami won 2 MVPs in Japan. He has hit 265 home runs in his career. Through a translator, he said he is excited to call Chicago home.
このレイトフィールドでプレーできること、今ものすごく興奮しています。はい。
Putting this uniform on, I feel like I finally reached the start line. I'm incredibly honored and excited to be able to play in front of these wonderful fans at Wright Field.
And we're excited to have you. Murakami played both third base and first base in Japan, but he could also spend time, obviously, as the designated hitter here in Chicago. Right now, crews are working to repair a massive sinkhole on the south side. Take a look at that. Sky Fox was over 111th and Whipple Street in the Mount Greenwood neighborhood. We believe that a ruptured water main caused this huge sinkhole. Officials say 111th between Albany and Sacramento is closed, so drivers should avoid the area and use 115th Street as an alternate route. Millions of Americans traveling across the country this week headed to their holiday destinations. I was just checking your roadways to see if there are any major incidents on any of your interstates, and in and around Chicago, you're looking pretty good, so no problems if you're leaving the city. And if you're taken to the skies, prepare for long lines and big crowds at the airport. Dana Marie McNichol is at Miami International Airport with the latest travel forecast.
We're coming home to see family and friends. It'll be nice to be back home.
This holiday season expected to be record-breaking, with AAA estimating more than 122 million Americans will fly or drive more than 50 miles to their destination. That's an increase of more than 2% from last year.
We're used to crowds and moving through and just having patience.
The number of travelers isn't the only thing increasing. Prices for domestic flights are up, averaging around $900, 7% higher than a year ago. Some good news, though. Travelers are saving at the pump, with the national average dipping below $3 a gallon for the first time in 4 years.
Even 2 or 3 cents a gallon can, over the time of a year, make a difference. So it's definitely nice to have that little extra.
If you're flying, you don't want to be the one holding up the security line. TSA reminding travelers of what not to pack in their carry-on, including wrapped gifts, liquids over 3.4 ounces, think snow globes, gravy, and eggnog, realistic toy weapons, and lithium-ion batteries.
Hazardous materials are a lot of times the things you bring on the aircraft, like your personal cell phone, your tablet, your vape device, your spare batteries for your camera.
If you're traveling, you'll want to keep an eye on the forecast. Snow in the Northeast and heavy rains on the West Coast could cause delays or even cancellations. In Miami, I'm Dana Marie McNichol, Fox 32 Chicago.
More news here on Fox 32 News at noon. Could the National Museum be on the verge of closing its doors? Why the Trump administration is now threatening Smithsonian funding.
The U.S. seizes another ship carrying Venezuelan oil. I'm Madeline Rivera in Washington with the latest on the escalating pressure from the U.S. on the Maduro regime.
The United States Coast Guard seized a second oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela over the weekend and is in pursuit of a third. This is according to government officials. The move comes as the White House continues to ramp up pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Madeline Rivera has the latest.
Before dawn on Saturday, the U.S. Coast Guard took control of an oil tanker after it reportedly left Venezuela. The White House says it's part of Venezuela's shadow fleet responsible for illegally moving the country's oil around the world. It's the second ship seized in less than 2 weeks.
They're Maduro's essentially dark money ATM. They're the way he keeps cash flowing into Venezuela under our sanctions.
U.S. forces attempted to board a third tanker over the weekend, but it sailed away and is now under active pursuit, according to U.S. officials. Oil is the main revenue source for Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro's regime, and President Trump has declared a total and complete blockade of all tankers sanctioned by the U.S.
They're using these dollars to funnel and purchase and proliferate drugs around the world that's killing the next generation of Americans. So don't forget what this is about.
The U.S. has been steadily ramping up the pressure campaign on Maduro, who officials accuse of leading a major drug trafficking cartel. The military has targeted alleged drug smuggling boats and has not ruled out the possibility of strikes on the Venezuelan mainland. President Trump says the actions are necessary to combat narco-terrorism, but lawmakers want to know what the endgame is.
This president has openly talked about regime change. They're now seizing oil tankers, which has nothing to do with drugs.
I support the idea of standing up to Maduro, and I want him to go. I am all in the camp for regime change.
About 70% of Venezuelan oil is exported on sanctioned ships, and the U.S. has not ruled out more seizures. In Washington, Mallory Rivera, Fox 32 Chicago.
And happening right now, a federal judge is hearing arguments on whether Kilmar Abrego Garcia should be returned to immigration custody. Abrego Garcia immigrated to the U.S. illegally from El Salvador as a teenager. In 2019, an immigration judge granted him protection from being deported back to his home country, finding he faced danger there from a gang that had targeted his family. In March, he was mistakenly deported there anyway. Police release a treasure trove of new information about the deadly anti-Semitic shooting in Australia, and that includes an alleged video confession from the suspected shooters. Steve Harrigan has more from Bondi Beach.
Please rise as we light the memorial candle.
Australia holding a day of reflection Sunday, marking 1 week since the deadly Hanukkah mass shooting on Bondi Beach. Just hours earlier, the surviving suspect made his first video court appearance. According to police, he and his father recorded a video justifying their attack, and 2 ISIS flags were found in their car.
It's not uncommon for individuals who are ISIS supporters to tape themselves on their phone, for example, and pledge allegiance to ISIS.
The 2 also reportedly conducted extensive firearms training to prepare for the shooting and threw homemade bombs into the crowd, but they did not go off, likely saving dozens of lives. Meanwhile, Australia's Prime Minister is apologizing for not doing more to combat anti-Semitism and pledging action in the coming days.
I'm sorry for what the Jewish community and our nation as a whole has experienced. The government will work every day to protect Jewish Australians.
Local officials say that will include new laws to crack down on hate speech.
We can't pretend that the world is the same as it was before that terrorist incident on Sunday. Things need to change.
Meanwhile, tensions here remain high, but community leaders are urging folks to use this tragedy as a call to action and make Sydney a safe place for everyone to worship freely.
The darkness is not defeated by anger or force. Darkness is transformed by light.
The suspected shooter is due back in court in April. In Bondi Beach, Steve Harrigan, Fox Chicago.
2 lawmakers are threatening to hold Attorney General Pam Bondi in contempt of Congress over the partial release of files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey say the Department of Justice failed to release all of its files by the deadline set in law. The DOJ says it's not done releasing material, and lawyers are going through the remaining documents to ensure victims' information is protected.
You can see in that photo, there's photographs of women. And so we learned after releasing that photograph that there were concerns about those women and the fact that we had put that photo up. So we pulled that photo down.
The Justice Department is promising future releases in the weeks ahead. The White House may cut federal funding to the Smithsonian. Trump administration is reviewing whether the museum complies with demands to remove race-focused or divisive materials ahead of America's 250th anniversary. The administration also wants detailed schedules and budgets. A report warns federal funding could be delayed or withheld if the Smithsonian doesn't cooperate. This move ties funding to the museum's alignment with what the White House calls shared American values. A federal judge is ordering the Trump administration to reverse hundreds of federal layoffs that were carried out during the government shutdown. The judge says the firings violated a stopgap spending law passed by Congress. The order affects almost 700 workers across multiple agencies, including state, education, and the Small Business Administration. It also requires full back pay. Agencies must reinstate those employees by Tuesday and are barred from any further layoffs through the end of the year. Caught on camera, a Walmart employee leaping into action to stop a shoplifting suspect from shooting at a police officer. Let's watch it again. This happened in Canton, Ohio. Police body camera video shows two alleged shoplifting suspects in a back office at Walmart. The officer was processing their information when one of the suspects pulls out a gun and points it at the officer. Thank goodness that gun jammed. You can see the employee wrestling the suspect, and that's when officers intervened. Police say the suspect was charged with attempted murder and robbery, among other felonies. Record rain causing a lot of problems out on the West Coast, especially in the state of California. At least one person has been killed, with dozens of high water rescues, with drivers getting caught in the floodwaters over the weekend. Parts of Northern California have seen nearly 18 inches of rain since Friday, with 2 more storms likely over the next few days. Well, it is 12:21 here. We'll give you a live look outside. City of Chicago looking fabulous. I mean, we got the gray skies, but that goes hand in hand with winter, Caitlin.
Doesn't it? Yes. No complaints. It's going to feel good outside today. We have a little bit of a gusty wind possible. Outside of that, we're in the 40s. Some drizzle this afternoon, especially north. Not out of the question, but overall, it's going to be a mild week ahead. So let's talk about our weather headlines. I mentioned those few sprinkles possible today. Well, tomorrow is going to be dry, but then we have more rain around expected on Christmas Eve and on Christmas, but a very mild holiday. In fact, on Christmas Day, the 40s, even the 50s are possible, especially south of the city. So mild weather is here, a huge difference a day makes. This is our 24-hour temperature change. We are 17 degrees warmer right now at the lakefront and O'Hare compared to yesterday at this time. 13 degrees warmer in Merrillville, 15-degree jump there in Kankakee as well, leaving us in the 30s and 40s at this lunchtime hour. It's 44 degrees at O'Hare, 43 at the lakefront, 39 in Aurora, 40 at Morris. Today, highs in the low 40s. I mentioned how it's going to be cloudy today, but we have that wind coming in out of the south, gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Tonight, temperatures right around 35, so we're not dropping too far with that south wind up to 15 miles per hour continuing. And tomorrow, even better. We have partly sunny skies. The clouds are going to break apart a touch. Tomorrow is the day to get outside if you want sunshine, because it's going to get cloudy again after tomorrow. I mentioned that potential for some drizzle on Wednesday and on Christmas Day. So it is going to be gray for the holiday. But tomorrow, 46 degrees with that west wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. It's going to be lovely. We'll take a look at your Christmas forecast. Also, the weekend. Are we going to stay above normal? I'll let you know coming up.
Thank you, Caitlin. You may want to check your freezer. The FDA is recalling frozen shrimp sold right here in Illinois. Coming up, what you need to know.
Are you ready to ring?
In today's Health Watch, check your freezers. Some bags of frozen shrimp that were sold at Jewel stores here in Illinois are being recalled. Nearly 84,000 bags of shrimp sold by Direct Source Seafood, LLC, there's a look at the package, are being pulled out of stores nationwide. The FDA says the shrimp may have been packaged, prepared, or held under unsanitary conditions and could potentially be radioactive. Here in Illinois, they were sold in 2-pound bags under the Waterfront Bistro brand. No illnesses associated with the product have been reported. And doctors are warning about surging cases of influenza across the country. So far, the CDC estimates at least 4.6 million illnesses, 49,000 hospitalizations, and 1,900 deaths from the flu. The dominant strain causing the bulk of illness is the new variant known as subclade K. Health experts say the best protection against severe infection is to get a flu vaccine. Most kids are now home on winter break, and that means there's likely a battle brewing over screen time. Studies have shown that too much device use can be linked to health issues like obesity, anxiety, and depression. So what can parents do? There's a new trend right now to try a retro winter break.
How did people spend winter breaks back in the 80s? Well, one thing is you get outside. If you live in a northern area where there's some snow, certainly sledding or ice skating is a great thing to do.
We used to just watch TV. And I guess that's equivalent to a tablet these days. Not every kid got outside and went sledding. They had working parents. All right, if you do head outside for activities with the kiddos, don't forget the water. Just because you're not sweating doesn't mean you don't need to stay hydrated. Cold air that dry air can actually zap us of our moisture faster, causing chapped lips, irritated skin, and even dizziness and fatigue. Chicago has a history that most of us never learned. It involves the rails. It may change how you see the city. Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the top stories we're following today at noon. Chicago police investigating after 2 people were hit and killed on the south side in a hit and run. They say this gray Grand Cherokee hit 2 pedestrians yesterday near South Marshfield Avenue in the Morgan Park neighborhood. Both victims were killed. The SUV has since been recovered. However, the driver has not been identified. If you recognize this vehicle or you have any information, please call Chicago Police. The Chicago City Council passed a budget It does not include the controversial corporate head tax that the mayor was hoping for. So now it's up to him to either sign it or veto it. Paris Schutz is here to break it all down. And we don't have a lot of time to deal with this, do we, Paris?
No, Natalie, what day is today? It's close to Christmas, isn't it? So
I did admit it's about 8 days.
Little more than 8 days before they need to get a budget or else the city government shut down. There is a budget passed by City Council, as you mentioned. All eyes now on Mayor Brandon Johnson. Will he sign it or will he veto it? The council again met on Saturday to take another vote on this alternative budget, and it actually gained a vote. The spending plan passed with a 30-18 majority. So now this budget wound up being similar to the mayor's, except for not including that corporate head tax. But it does include an aggressive plan to sell individual debts owned to the city to a collection agency. Plus, it legalizes video gambling in terminals in bars and restaurants. Now, supporters of this alternative plan say this is about promoting a pro-business environment.
We have to create a synergy in this city to bring businesses back into this city. Businesses are the ones that make this city grow. We have to grow jobs and opportunity. We can't keep hitting businesses over the head saying, don't come to Chicago.
I know that losing the battle does not mean that we have lost the war. And so though we may not have the majority of the council, we do have the people.
Now, the opposition alders are 4 votes shy of a supermajority. So Mayor Johnson, who's not showing his cards right now, he has no planned press conferences scheduled today. As of now, that could all change. Another budget meeting is set to take place at the bottom of this hour. And to give a hint, the Chicago Teachers Union this weekend seemed to drop opposition and put out a tweet in support of the budget that passed, claiming that 99% of the mayor's priorities are in there. So maybe that's a hint as to what the mayor will do. But still, Natalie, an extraordinary situation where it's council now, not the mayor, driving this process of putting a budget in place for the city of Chicago. That's an unprecedented situation, at least in the last 40 years or so.
That's incredible. All right, we'll see what happens. Thank you so much, Paris. I know you'll be watching it. We are watching the weather because we know a lot of you are hitting the road today, getting ready for that holiday travel. So Caitlin is here to the rescue.
Mild temperatures, feeling good. Looking okay. We've got clouds in place. There's a chance for a little bit of drizzle this afternoon, especially north of the city. But right now, it's quiet and it's busy downtown. We've seen some live shots near the Bean, ice skating downtown. It's packed. I don't blame you. Go outside, enjoy this. It feels good. Yes, it's cloudy, but it's winter in Chicago. We're going to have more sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow. I'll show you that in a moment. First, though, right now you are stepping out the door, too. 44 degrees at the lakefront and at O'Hare, 39 in Aurora. Temperatures in the low 40s for northwest Indiana. So a good mix, upper 30s to mid 40s right now. Over the next 12 hours, temperatures are going to be staying in the upper 30s and low 40s all the way through this evening. You can see even 8, 9 o'clock, and temperatures are flirting with 40. So it's going to be a mild day. And actually, tonight we're getting down to the mid 30s. We're not dropping too much. So for today, area-wide, we are seeing temperatures above normal. We should be at 35 instead of the low 40s. Tonight getting down to about 35. And then tomorrow, best day of the week. We're going to have partly sunny skies, so more sunshine is in the forecast. And the temperatures are pushing a whole 10 degrees above normal. Upper 40s are expected tomorrow. Then the clouds are going to build, and we have the chance for a little bit of light rain around on Christmas Eve as well as on Christmas. Here's your 7-day forecast. Temperatures still feel good. A little bit cooler on Wednesday at 42, and then 45 on Christmas Day. Temperatures are actually climbing Christmas night. And then on Friday, it's going to be so nice. Mild, balmy, 51 degrees with sunshine and dry skies. And then this weekend, temperatures in the upper 40s on Saturday, Sunday back down to the mid 30s. Natalie.
Thank you, Caitlin. A new exhibit in Pilsen revisits how Mexican and Mexican-American railroad workers shaped Chicago. Terrence Lee found something in the records that the museum didn't even expect.
Many longtimers here in our newsroom did not know about this history either. This is at the National Museum of Mexican Art, and it starts with a simple question. Where did people actually live while they were helping build Chicago? The exhibit uses maps, photos, family documents, all to follow rail workers across generations, where they worked, where they raised families, and in some cases, where they slept at night. Not in far-off camps, not outside the city, inside Chicago. Cesario Moreno is the museum's visual arts director.
We sent out a call to the community through social media, other forms of reaching out to the community, and we got such an incredible response. People were calling us and emailing us and saying, I have photographs of my grandfather, I have photographs of my aunt and uncle. We were raised in a boxcar and I have photographs of it.
Raised in a boxcar. You heard that right. The exhibit pulls those families' records together, photos kept at home, memories passed down, documents that never made it into our textbooks. So later today on the News at 4, I'll show you what else the researchers found, how maps and census records put families in neighborhoods people still live in today, and why that history matters as questions about immigration and belonging are being debated daily. Natalie?
Fascinating story. Thank you so much, Terrence.
You got
I look
it.
forward to seeing it at 4. Coming up, we're going to take a look at today's business headlines. We'll be right back. Let's take you to the New York Stock Exchange. Right now, the Dow Jones is trading up 257 points. And now it's time to look at your business headlines with Jerry Willis.
The hostile takeover fight for Warner Brothers is getting even more heated. Paramount is beefing up its bid. Billionaire Larry Ellison agreeing to personally provide more than $40 billion to bankroll Paramount's offer.
This is exactly the kind of move that Larry Ellison is known for. Maybe he's thinking about the IP property. Maybe he's thinking about spinning off the content. But I can almost guarantee you he's not thinking about it as a traditional film company.
This as Netflix has secured up to $25 billion in bank financing for its proposed acquisition of the entertainment giant. Instacart says it's ending all item price tests on its platform and will not charge different prices for the same items. The company says, quote, now if two families are shopping for the same items at the same time from the same store location on Instacart, they see the same prices, period. And stocks typically enjoy a so-called Santa Claus rally in the period spanning the last 5 trading days of the year. That period will run from this Wednesday through Monday, January 5th. Last year, there was a Santa Claus sell-off. The Dow Industrials notched its first decline in 9 years. Markets will be closed Thursday for Christmas and will resume regular trading on Friday. In New York, Jerry Willis, Fox Business.
Our noon show will be wrapping up in just about 20 minutes here, but Chicago Live is just getting started. Anita Blanton standing by with a look at what's ahead. Hey, Anita.
Hey, Natalie. Yeah, only 2 days, of course, of Chicago Live this week with Santa on the way. But here's what we have cooking for today. The big thing that we'll be taking Everyone will be listening to this in our 3 o'clock hour, and we'll try to go there live just the minute it begins. It will be a scheduled announcement from President Donald Trump with the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the Secretary of the Navy. They are expected to speak again in the 3 o'clock hour from Mar-a-Lago. Of course, this is coming after the Coast Guard seized yet another oil tanker off the Venezuelan coast over the weekend. So we do expect that to be a high-stakes conversation. Also, there will be plenty of eyes on that, and here at home, plenty of talk about the budget. So political reporter Paris Schutz has just been at City Hall. They had their budget committee meeting today. Time is ticking to get everything finalized. So he's going to come up and chat with me about the latest developments from over the weekend on that, where that's concerned. Also, you know, even for those of us who aren't politicians, this time that can be holly and jolly can also be very stressful. So we're going to talk with a local doctor about holiday heart syndrome and if feeding your babies during their winter break is actually one of the stressors in your life. A local restaurant is stepping up in a big way to feed kids with free meals over this holiday break. So I'm going to talk to the owner about filling the gap with a little warmth and holiday joy. That is all starting at 1 o'clock on Chicago Live. So we certainly hope that everyone will be online for that, Natalie.
Thanks so much, Anita. We look forward to it. From family photos to festive designs, how a local baker is using edible printing to turn holiday cookies into a personalized gift. The holiday season is the busiest time of year for bakers, and one local cookie artist is using some sweet technology to keep up with demand. Joining us now is founder of She's One Clever Cookie, Lana Tadros, to show us an edible ink printer and how it can turn simple cookies into custom gift-ready treats. And tell me again the statistic on how many cookies this thing can prepare versus what you could do by hand before.
Yeah, so Eddie can print 12 cookies in 2 minutes. You can't even mix a color of icing in that time.
That's incredible. So this is a device that home bakers can purchase, right? And it's a printer that uses edible ink?
Yes. So it's a high food grade quality ink that prints directly onto the cookie.
How do a lot of bakers, I mean, they have to be turned on to this because I think you could increase your bottom line so much.
Absolutely.
If you can produce all of these.
Absolutely. With an Eddie, the design that you can put together is limitless. It prints company logos. You can print high color photos or full color photos, QR codes that could link people to your website.
Wow.
Whatever you can imagine, Eddie can print it.
Okay, so we brought some in, and hopefully, yes, we're getting a shot of those. Tell me what you brought in and how that gives people an example of that.
Yeah, so I took some photos that are family members.
Okay.
And printed them onto cookies and put little festive holiday touch on it. I also created a edible cookie that you can handwrite your wish list to Santa, so that's a fun activity to do with the kids. Yeah, I created some for you guys for Fox 32 Chicago, wishing everyone a happy holiday. But Eddie can print on anything. It can print on fudge-covered Oreos. It can print on graham crackers, marshmallows, M&Ms. So the options are limitless.
And then does the ink stay on the cookies pretty well? It dries quickly? It's not getting on people's hands?
No, it dries almost instantly, as long as your icing is dry, and then you can package it and gift it.
Do you have to use a specific type of icing if you're going to use this printer?
So I print on royal icing, but it can print on chocolate. It can print on graham crackers, marshmallows, so it can print on anything.
Tell me, this time of year, I cannot imagine how busy your days may look like. When do you get started with the holiday orders, and how busy do you get?
Yeah, so I'm a full-time nurse, and I start, I start planning the day after Halloween. So I create my designs, figure out how much dough I need to prepare, make all my cutters, and then figure out what designs I'm going to offer for the holiday season, and then get started as soon as possible.
And you said make your cookie cutters, which I'm thinking like you go buy it at a store, but do you use a 3D printer for those?
I do. I used to buy them from a third party, but it got really expensive because I like unique shaped cookies. And so I decided to teach myself how to operate a 3D printer, and here we are.
And here it's technology in the making for bakers. It's really impacting everyone. What is the most popular thing this year? Is it the cartoonish looking cookies? Is it pictures of family members? What have you found to be the one thing that people are gravitating toward?
So people are looking for something personal for either family members, and companies are looking for cookies that they can share with their employees. So it just varies. This year it's been a lot of Santa themed cookies, Rudolph and all the reindeers on cookies, and things that you can take a memorable family photo and put that on a cookie and send it to your family members all over the country.
So no order is too small for you?
Correct. I can handle
are you
it.
still taking holiday orders?
The holiday orders are done for the year.
Okay.
Yeah. I've made about 1,300 cookies in the last month and a half, so it's time to move on from holiday cookies.
Yeah, and so Valentine's Day, I would think, will be the next big holiday.
Yes, that's the next big one coming up.
And when should people start placing those orders?
As soon as possible, because I'm a one-woman show, so I can't make more than a certain number of cookies. But if you get your orders in early, I can.
And what is your website, and where are you based?
So I don't have a website. I'm based in Chicago. I bake all of these out of my own apartment. But you can reach me on Instagram, on Facebook, or you can email me directly at she'soneCleverCookie@gmail.com.
Besides cookies, are there any other desserts that you enjoy making?
No, because this takes up all of my time, and I'm a self-taught baker. Prior to 3.5 years ago, I never baked a cookie in my life.
No way.
So I think I'm going to stick with cookies for now.
For people at home that are at-home bakers and they want to create, let's say, okay, they don't have the 3D printer, but maybe they want to do these little items at home. Do you have any tips and tricks for them? I'm talking about these that look like they were done by hand.
They were.
What have you learned over the years that has helped you make the perfect cookie?
So practice makes perfect. I'm a perfectionist, and I like things to look a certain way. So it just takes time with getting the right consistency of the icing.
Yes.
And just getting that flow of how to pipe on. And once you do it one way, then the next time you're asked to make it, you might change a little bit of a detail, or you might add a little pearl or something to snazz it up a little bit.
Well, thank you for coming in, and I'm glad that you can finally take a break. These look delicious, so we'll be enjoying them here at Fox 32. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Avatar Fire and Ash heats up the holiday box office, taking the #1 spot over the weekend, earning $88 million in North America. The highly anticipated third installment in James Cameron's Avatar trilogy clocks in at a little over 3 hours. Meantime, Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried's psychological thriller The Housemaid was no match for the Christmas movie David, which pulled in $22 million. Housemaid finished third. A horror sequel and a Golden Globe nominated dark sci-fi comedy are among this week's new digital and DVD releases available to add to your home library. Ashley Dvorkin runs down the list of what's new in home entertainment.
Hello, Finney.
The horror sequel, The Black Phone 2, tops this week's list of new home releases. Ethan Hawke and Mason Thames return. Set 4 years after the original, the masked child-snatching killer is now a supernatural force, leaving the kids at the center of it, a mystery to unravel at a haunted camp.
What you're asking me to do is not quite clear to me.
The Golden Globe-nominated dark sci-fi comedy Bugonia stars Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, and Aidan Delvis. It follows a powerful CEO kidnapped by 2 conspiracy theorists who believe she's an alien planning to destroy Earth.
It's funny how the most beautiful places make you feel the most alone, you know?
In a big, bold, beautiful journey, Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell play strangers who discover a mysterious doorway, leading them on a time-bending adventure through defining moments from their past, offering them a chance to rewrite their future.
There isn't a federal law that prevents a parent from taking their child.
It's kidnapping. He's kidnapped her. Kate Beckinsale and Scott Eastwood team up in the thriller Stolen Girl. Inspired by true events, the story follows a mother who teams up with an ex-Marine to track down her daughter abducted by her ex-husband and taken overseas.
You stole her from me.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Someone could wake up Christmas morning with a billion reasons to smile. Coming up, the supersized jackpot on the line tonight.
I was in a wreck. TMZ Live, Rob Reiner's son.
Santa is ditching the cold weather this year, and who can blame him, really, and enjoying the Florida sun. He was seen in the Florida Keys scuba diving. St. Nick took his annual holiday plunge in the crystal clear waters off the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. That is beautiful. He brought along his trusted underwater elves and a mermaid to see all of the curious marine life. Well, if you have not gotten a chance to play, if you didn't get a chance to play in last week's Powerball, it's a Christmas miracle, friends, because there's still time. Once again, there were no top winners during Saturday's Powerball drawing. The jackpot has now soared to $1.6 billion. The lump sum, if you take it, $735 million before taxes. But don't go counting your millions just yet. Your odds of winning are 1 in about 300 million. But if you don't play, you can't win. That's what they say. The next drawing is tonight. And we really hit the jackpot this week with the weather forecast. It's so beautiful out there, Caitlin, and so many people are enjoying it.
So comfortable to be outside. Ice skating today, we were just chatting about that. It would be perfect weather to go ice skating. Temperatures in the low 40s. It's going to be a cloudy day, and you do have the chance for a little bit of wet weather. But overall, this week is going to be mild, with temperatures staying above normal. Tomorrow, 46 with more sunshine, calling it partly sunny and dry. Then the chance for rain is back Wednesday, so Christmas Eve, and on Christmas, we have the chance for some spotty rain. Temperatures are still going to be in the 40s, 42 as our high Wednesday, Thursday around 45, and then Friday, 51. So Christmas night, temperatures are actually going to be increasing instead of decreasing. And then our highs in the 50s, so a very warm end to the week. Then this weekend, Saturday, 48, Sunday, 34. So the temperatures are going to be fantastic through this week. Really, it's going to be a gray but mild week, with the exception of tomorrow. We're going to have more sunshine, and as mentioned, Friday too. So we are going to be a little bit gray on Christmas, Nat, but at least it's going to be comfortable.
Okay, thanks so much, Caitlin. Comfortable is key. That's all for Fox 32 News at noon, and the news continues on Chicago Live on Fox Local with Anita Blanton. Have a wonderful day.
Next. That, of course, that's the natural correlation here, of course. But we do have plenty of big talkers today that we'll get to. I'll kind of line up the next few hours in just a few moments. But since Paris is already here, let's just go ahead and jump into one of the biggest talkers from over the weekend, going into a brand new week, and that would be the city budget. There were major developments over the weekend.
Yeah, so before that thrilling Bears game, City Council and the mayor got together to meet for a City Council meeting, and they passed another necessary vote to get this budget in place. It's actually a couple different ordinances that they have to vote all through to have a budget. So they passed that just like they had passed the revenue ordinance, and they actually gained a vote on Saturday. 30-19 was their margin, which means they're 4 votes shy of a supermajority. And all eyes on the mayor now, Anita. Will he sign? Will he veto? There's a hint given out by the CTU, the teachers union, over the weekend. They put out a tweet saying that, basically claiming victory, that 99% of the mayor's priorities are in this alternative budget that was passed. And so that might give an indication that he's going to not let this fight drag on and go ahead and sign this bill.
The one thing missing, the biggie for him, was the corporate head tax.
Yeah. He really wanted to institute that tax, and instead the alternative plan had a debt collection plan instead to get some of that debt that's owed to the city. The mayor didn't like that, saying that that's going to hit working people. Why shouldn't we hit corporations? And this is his political identity, basically, is to take care of the working people.
Progressive,
and to have the wealthier pay their fair share of corporations. The other side of that was that, look, in the city of Chicago, we need to develop, we need to grow,
and be business
we need to be business friendly. We need to have give business the opportunity to locate here, locate their employees, because there's no wall on Howard or on 130th or Austin. They can leave the city limits. So it's always that delicate balance that they're walking in, and you might have both sides claim victory here. The alternative alders might say, we passed this budget, it doesn't have the head tax, but there is this it's called the cloud computing tax.
Right.
Long story short, this is tough on business. I mean, this is going to hurt business. They call it the personal property lease transaction tax. I mean, it's got this really weird, complicated. But this could hurt small business. So there's that in there. Now the mayor might turn around and say, look, we fought and fought and fought, and we got 99% of our stuff in there. So there's a claim to make for both sides.
It's called compromise.
Yeah.
We knew that they were going to have to do it to get somewhere. That group of alders supporting the alternative plan has been growing steadily as the conversation has gone along.
Right. 29 on Friday and then 30 over the weekend. They just need 4 more. And a lot of alders are like a wait and see, you know, like, so if they see, you know, this getting down to the wire, they might jump and go, you know, override his veto.
And they were at like 26 at the beginning of last week,
Right.
like this time last
Right.
week.
So,
So,
it's just growing. I mean, I think this game of chicken, when you've got that deadline looming over your head, alders, nobody wants to wear the hat for a shutdown.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah. Similar to
in
Washington,
federal
D.C.
government.
Right.
And it always is the case where they point their fingers at each other, but then usually the executive wears the hat. The president is usually blamed. And so in this case, it would seem the mayor would be blamed. Because it's not like every Chicagoan knows who their alderperson is.
Right.
You know? I
Right.
mean, I'd like to think we know, but do I even know who? Yeah, I know who mine is.
And
but-
even if they know who theirs is, they don't know the rest.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So the mayor is the one left holding the hat, which it looks like he's going to sign it. I don't quote me on that. With a messaging strategy of declaring victory. Look what we got out of it. We didn't give them what we wanted. We held out until they had to give and give and give. So that's where I see this going. Unless the mayor, you know, that corporate head tax and the notion of sticking it to business and the wealthy, unless he sees some political benefit from holding out some more.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, when you look at even just the property tax debacle of 2025 and this last quarter of 2025, it goes back into that conversation of what's going on with the businesses in our city. You can't have a bunch of vacant buildings. You know, and where that ends up, where that burden ends up shifting.
Yeah, and that's what happened with this latest reassessment, and what happened this year when people opened their property tax bills is that the burden has been really hitting working class homeowners over the big commercial properties, and again, some of these alternative budget alders have made the case that because of downtown, because like the big giant properties, buildings, their values have decreased because of the vacancy, and so then everyone else has to make up for that. That's the case they're trying to make, and that's why they're saying we need to do something to spur on business, to make business not scared of you know, opening up here.
Yeah, I mean, it in some ways it even goes back, you know, you made the joke about the Bears, but in some ways it even goes into that conversation about business-friendly atmospheres.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk to legislators or even the mayors in Indiana, they talk about the fact that our tax environment is very different than Illinois.
Yeah, and that's why they're trying to lure the Bears, and we know here in Illinois that lawmakers have been allergic to giving them some kind of benefit, and Indiana now is going to come up with a package that maybe they will, maybe it will be a competitive offer to lure the Bears. And you know, that's tricky. That's another game of chicken here. Is the Bears? I mean, I think they've fumbled this process because this is 3 years in now, and they don't have a new plan. But if you're the governor and the state, do you want to wear the hat for losing the Bears to Indiana? I mean, so, and the Bears, you know, the lawmakers have always said public opinion's on their side that we don't want to bail out big corporations, but you know, where does this fall down? Will more people be upset if they leave the state?
Yeah.
You know, and if they go over the border to Indiana, it might not be that far away. You know, you can just drive over the Skyway and you're there. And they've talked about putting it near Hard Rock Casino, which is on the 8094, and
where you can turn back and see the skyline
you can
here
see the skyline
in Chicago.
Or even bigger benefit if they put it along the South Shore line, which goes through Gary and Hammond, to give people an option to get there via public transit. There are, you know, I mean, in Northwest Indiana is not a nutso proposal.
No,
you know, it makes a whole lot of sense in many respects.
There are already conversations online and in this building about the Gare Bears.
The Gare Bears.
The Care Bears.
Like the Care Bears, the Care Bears.
Yeah. So there are some really big conversations and considerations as we close out this year and get ready for the new year. But of course, this budget, going back to the budget issue, it does have to be done by the 31st.
By the 31st, yeah. And by all accounts, they will get it done. I mean, they're planning, they have set meetings now for after Christmas, if they need it. We have a budget meeting today. I'm not 100% sure what's coming out of that. So I think they've anticipated that the mayor might veto this.
Yeah.
And, you know, the mayor might make him sweat and say, you know what, you did this to me, now I'm going to make you sweat through your Christmas celebrations and not have this resolved, you know, because we haven't heard anything yet. But, you know, this could change by the hour.
Yeah.
You know, he's holding his cards close to the vest, and he's got cards to play here. I mean, he's got, and politically, it's all about 2027 as well. You know, he wants to run for re-election as far as we know now. There's going to be challengers, but he could, if he just holds out and says, I held the line. I wanted to make the wealthy pay.
And I did it for the people.
And I did it for the people.
Which
they
is
wanted
kind
to
of a
make the
part
people
of
pay.
His comment, even to them on Saturday, was kind of forming that argument.
You know, you're right. He said he's like, well, I know we don't have a majority here in council, but the people support us. So, you know, that there you go. That you're absolutely right. He's starting that messaging now. That he's on the side of the people, and that's, you know, that's the message he'll take into his re-election fight.
Yeah, and of course, a part of the things that he initially opposed in that alternative budget were things that hit everyday people, like the garbage fees and things of that nature that you do have to consider again when people are feeling the effects, you know, your belt tightening from so many different vantage points.
Yeah, I mean, it's by no means is this alternative budget. No one's celebrating it. Even, you know, the Chamber of Commerce and all these other groups came out and said, yeah, it's still hard. This is going to hurt business, but no corporate head tax.
Yeah.
And they at least they said, but at least this alternative plan, they were willing to listen to us and negotiate and hear our concerns. And it's not perfect, but we appreciate that part of it.
There was also the conversation about the video gaming terminals.
So this would legalize video gaming terminals in the majority of bars and restaurants in the city. Obviously, Bally's Casino has an interest against this because they're worried this will take away their business. And they've said they have studies saying it would reduce their business. So that means they're going to reduce the people they hire. They might reduce their footprint, even though they're still building the building. We don't know. I mean, we don't know if that's the case yet. The other thing is they're not going to get much revenue from that this year because they're going to have to set up the infrastructure. So the only revenue that they're counting on this year is the licenses, not the actual revenue from people going in and gaming. And I have to say, if you go to some of the suburbs, you know, you see these restaurants and bars with the gaming and the sweepstakes. And, you know, is this something that we want? I mean, is this something that could be dangerous and lead people to a gambling problem? It's one thing to have a casino where you got to go. But it's another thing on your corner bar or restaurant. It's just going to be right there for you.
It's tough. I mean, listen, I'm glad that we're not the people that have to make the decisions on any of these quite necessarily. But, you know, when we talk to the president of the Illinois Restaurant, you know, Association, he's like, hey, for businesses, restaurant owners who are still struggling post-pandemic,
they need revenue.
Any kind of way they can bring in a little something extra that's legal, obviously, then let them do it, because we don't want the small mom and pop shops to get rolled over. That's one thing. Of course, you brought up Bally's. They see it from a totally different side. They've made that, I think it was like a hospitality agreement with the city.
Where the city has to turn over, what is it, like 4% or some percentage of revenue as a make good.
So if the people you end up having to pay are then undercutting how much you end up making, there's that part of it too.
And Bally's still, I mean, obviously they're lobbying against this, but they were saying this would chunk into their business and maybe it means they hire. Although if you go to Bally's, you know, you'll have all the table games. I mean, you're not going to have that at restaurants, unless you're at some secret club in like there's a social club in one of the Italian neighborhoods where they go and, well, I don't know if they're doing anything illegal back there. I better be careful. But they're playing cards and smoking cigars. It's not like it's the mob, but it's like a social club. There are these social clubs throughout the city. But I'm just saying, it's not
that
like
you know nothing about, by the way.
We know nothing about. I have heard of them, but But like so Bally's still has the table games and the blackjack and the roulette, you know, like maybe they should just focus on high-end games and not just the slots, you know.
There's that.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the shows.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna have the Vegas style shows.
Whenever it's finally finished, whenever it's fine. They're still in the temporary, the Medina Temple right now.
Right.
But yeah, they've got a ways to go. And I mean, it is an important consideration for them as they are building. If you see something that could take away anything from what you're building, what you're actively building.
Well, yeah, they're making a huge investment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a giant development. So, of course they have an interest in this. And there was another plan to just make them legal in airports, which I think that you know, when you think about that, it's like it's soaking the travelers and not necessarily the locals. We have a history here of like the hotel tax. Let's just soak the travelers and, you know, let them pay for it, not the locals. But so there was that plan, but it got shelved in favor of just putting them in all bars and restaurants. And you open up Pandora's box, where does it go?
You do.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, and do you get more gambling addiction? Is that going to be, that could be a drain on resources? I mean, can you honestly say this is going to be more revenue for restaurants if people are spending money on this and maybe not buying that extra drink or dessert or whatever? I don't know.
Consideration too. Some people could come in just to do
Just for that.
You know?
Maybe.
So yeah.
Well, in Vegas, like they, you know, they kind of keep plying you with the drink. So maybe that's what these restaurants will do to keep you gambling.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Plenty of things
Yeah.
don't, again, as we close out one year and get ready for a new year, but some business still has to be handled before we even finish out the year. Paris, thank you so much. We always appreciate you staying on
Always
top
a
of
good time.
everything.
Thanks, Anita.
Okay, all right, we'll see you for the Chicago Report.
Sure.
Everybody, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes and we'll move through the rest of the 1 o'clock hour. Okay, everyone, thanks for staying with us. It's 1:20 right now. We want to take you right to the East Coast for a live press conference that's beginning. This is coming off of the heels of a court hearing today for Kilmer Abrego Garcia. Let's listen in.
Or a little implausible that in a case of this nature that, we've now learned has been considered a priority for the highest levels of the Justice Department, that they really haven't even decided what they're going to do here. So the government gave the district judge gave the government until the 26th of December, that is to say Friday, to actually answer the question. What is your plan for Mr. Abrego Garcia? Are you planning to rearrest him? If so, why? We'll then have the opportunity to respond to that, and then based on that, the judge will decide whether to convert her temporary order prohibiting his rearrest into a permanent order, or whether to dissolve it. So as of right now, Mr. Abrego Garcia is going to return to his home with his wife and his children and his family members in Maryland. And he will be at home through Christmas and New Year. But we're very much not out of the woods yet, right? I mean, the government, to me at least, it's clear that the government is willing to do whatever it takes, sort of give any legal justification, any factual justification whatsoever, to put this man back into a detention center. And we all see that there's no reason for that. We see that there's no basis. Yet again, who's keeping Mr. Abrego Garcia in the United States right now is the federal government. Right? Mr. Abrego Garcia, if he was allowed to sort of choose his path, he would have been in Costa Rica months ago, right? And so it's actually the federal government that's keeping him here in the United States right now in order to keep him behind bars of an ICE detention center, and now put him back behind bars of an ICE detention center. Again, they're insisting on punishing him and using ICE detention, which is supposed to be just for the purpose of carrying out a removal, using ICE detention to accomplish what they weren't able to accomplish in the criminal matter in Tennessee, which is, to keep him locked up. But we're not gonna allow that. We're gonna keep fighting for a resolution of this matter that keeps Mr. Abrego Garcia free. Right? His priority right now is to remain free. Again, as I said last time, we don't consider justice that he be in Costa Rica. Justice would be that he remain here in Maryland, free from the constant threat, free from the persecution of this government, free from the threat that they're going to try to remove him to, whatever fourth or fifth or sixth African country they can name, free from the threat that they're going to send him back to a detention center in Pennsylvania. That would be justice. But an acceptable resolution at this point is the resolution that he's fighting for, which is the ability to take the Costa Rican government up on their offer of refugee status. That offer has been sitting out there since August. When we were last in court, the government said, "Oh no, that's no good anymore." Costa Rica, there's things going on that you don't know with Costa Rica. Of course, that proved to be completely false, as the Costa Rican foreign minister came out just a few days later and said, no, our offer of refugee status still stands. And that's where we left it. And so that's what Mr. Abrego Garcia is trying to do right now, right? He is trying to carry out what the government claims to want in this case, which is his removal from the United States. And they're the ones who are preventing that from happening.
Free Gilmer now! 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 Free Gilmer now!
I'll just repeat that briefly in Spanish, and then I'll take question and answers in English and Spanish. El gobierno hoy hizo la misma táctica de mandar un abogado.
Okay, everybody. So we've been listening in to this press conference following this hearing. The judge there in Maryland was supposed to be deciding whether ICE should be allowed to re-detain Kilmar Abrego Garcia while the government attempts to deport him to Liberia or another country. This was his attorney that you can see here on the screen at the mics. He says that now the federal government has until December 26th, so Friday, the day after Christmas, to come up with a plan for Kilmar Abrego Garcia before they have another hearing. And then their team will have another opportunity to respond once that plan is turned in as to whether that works for them. The judge will decide whether the temporary order that's taking place right now, that's under effect right now, will then continue to be in effect, whether it will be dissolved or whether it will become permanent in some form or fashion. But for now, at least, Kilmar Abrego Garcia gets to return home for Christmas and for the New Year's, at least. His attorney argues that the federal government is punishing him using this ICE detention that's been going back and forth. Of course, this is the man who was deported mistakenly, then brought back to the country, but then there were charges out of Tennessee that he was facing for smuggling in that state, but then he ended up back in Maryland. December 11th, he was released after a judge found that the government had detained him without lawful authority. So there's so much to this particular case here. He's obviously from El Salvador, but he had been living in Maryland for quite some time here. So again, we're fleshing out what's going on here, but as of right now, he will get to go home at least through the new year as they still decide what should happen to him from here. His attorney saying here that the federal government is really just trying to find a way to send him to some type of country. Again, if he's from El Salvador, he was initially sent to Costa Rica, brought back. Now they're speaking of sending him to Liberia. He, at the very least, if he's going to be deported, would want to go somewhere that he is native to. So there's a lot that's going back and forth on this particular thing. For Abrego Garcia, the immigration judge corrected an error and add a removal order to his record there that was, they say, erroneously omitted initially. So he has a wife, children. He'll get to spend the holidays with them, and we'll see where things go from here. The federal government argues that he was connected to MS-13 gang and that he was human smuggling in Tennessee. So several different angles to this story that's really been going on for quite some time now, for several months now that we've been watching this, but this is just the latest aspect to it. Let me tell you a little bit about some of the things that we have coming up in this hour. That just kind of popped up as we were in the commercial break. We could see them getting ready to come out of the courthouse, and with so many people watching that story for so long, we wanted to be able to go there live. But here are a few other things that we're watching right now. In our 3 o'clock hour, so it's about 1:30 right now, in our 3 o'clock hour, we do expect that President Trump is going to make an announcement from Mar-a-Lago alongside Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Secretary of the Navy will be there as well. It is expected that they're going to discuss the latest seizure of another oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. That is an increasingly intense situation that's been going on there that everyone has also been following closely for some time. So as soon as that press conference begins, we'll try to go to that live again. That should be happening in our 3 o'clock hour, possibly around 3:30. We don't know if it'll start correctly, exactly at that time, but somewhere around that time. In our 2 o'clock hour, we're going to talk weather, travel, two things that go hand in hand, of course, especially this time of year when millions of Americans will be passing through airports this week, trying to get here, there, and everywhere for the Christmas holiday. And then, of course, there's the New Year. We're going to keep a close eye on both weather and travel, so we'll even talk about it in this hour. Caitlin Cody just came up here. We'll be talking with her in just a few moments here. Winter weather, throwing a wrench in travel plans for people, especially who are going or living in the northern and northeast portions of the country. So you know how the ripple effect can begin for flights and even for road travel for a lot of people. So today, quiet around here, but we'll talk about that because a lot of people could be impacted by what's going on elsewhere. And in this hour, we are catching up with the local restaurant coming up in just a bit. With this local restaurant has a program that they're doing. It's wonderful. They say that they are filling a gap for many families and bringing a little warmth and a lot of joy during the holidays by providing free meals for kids who are on winter break. If you think about how many schools help out, during the time that kids are there with free meals, summer break, winter break, when kids aren't in that structured environment of going to school, it can quickly become a very stressful time for a lot of families in need. And so they are stepping in to fill that gap. And so we'll be talking with the owner of that restaurant about what they're doing, why they chose to do it, and so much more. So let's take another quick break, and then we'll get to that conversation, plus Caitlin, so we can set you up if you're getting ready to travel, wherever you're going for the holiday. Let's take a quick break, just 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. so we can talk about this weather outside. It's actually really nice today.
Very mild.
Yeah.
Yes. We've been looking at this live shot, and sometimes it'll scan down and show the ice skating. It is packed out there. What a wonderful day to enjoy Chicago. I see lots of little ones on Christmas break. It's mild. So really, the main headline for this week, Christmas weather, mild conditions, lots of clouds. Now, tomorrow we're going to have a little more sunshine, and then we have a few cloudy days with some wet weather, and then sunshine again on Friday. But today, it feels really good. So highs today are going to be in the low 40s. We could have some gusts to 25 miles per hour at times. But tomorrow, it's going to be 46 degrees with partly sunny skies.
My.
So tomorrow's going to be a highlight, so is Friday. In between there, of course, the holiday. We've got Christmas Eve and Christmas. So on Christmas Eve, low 40s, we have the chance for a little bit of rain, as mentioned. Even on Christmas Day, 45 degrees. So it's going to be in the form of rain, which is great. And then Thursday night, so Christmas night, temperatures are going up instead of down, so we're climbing. And then on Friday, 51 with mostly sunny skies.
It feels like it's not even, to look at that, feels like it's not even Chicago.
Right.
I mean, for Christmas, right around Christmas time to be 51 is just like, whoa.
51. You know, we're going to be able to get outside. I think that this is wonderful. We can get rid of our cabin fever this week. Temperatures, normal highs in the 30s, so that's where we should be instead of the 40s. This upcoming weekend, it's kind of 50-50. Saturday, 48, 34 expected Sunday. But even into early next year, it looks like temperature trends are warmer than normal. So I don't think we're going to be letting go of the mild air as we get into the beginning of next year. In the meantime, yeah, if you're making your plans outside today, I have had a few reports of some light precipitation, especially north of Chicago, so along the Wisconsin border. That's where we have the best chance to get in on some wet weather today. But it's going to be hit or miss. Most of us staying dry and just mild, really. It's going to feel good.
So this is the kind of weather that you want to get out in, you know, and do like the last minute shopping.
Yes,
or
Christmas
go ahead and
lights.
start, the last minute kind of things. And I love the fact that like Chris Kindle Market and things of that nature are going to be around still just a few days after, you know, Christmas as well.
Are they? I was wondering when the Chris Kindle Market was closing.
I think it's open until the 31st. I mean, there are multiple locations, so I keep trying to like scan over Aurora, Wrigleyville, Daly Plaza and see how long they're going to be open, because maybe everybody can't fit it in. Obviously, when things were so cold just a couple weeks ago, maybe people were like, can we wait?
Yes.
You know?
Yes,
Maybe
exactly.
too cold to be out for extended periods.
I mean, we have a couple more days till Christmas, so you got to get all the things checked off the list. I think today is the day to get outside. I know there has to be like a cookie making day in here somewhere. Probably not tomorrow. Don't do that tomorrow. Maybe Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve you can make cookies. Okay, it's gonna be cloudy again. But in the meantime, yeah, I think you should go to the ice skating, go walk around downtown, do all the outdoor activities. And to your point, after all this cold weather that we've had, I think we're all ready to just get outside.
Yes. Yeah. And then you have in the back of your mind, like, okay, did we get a taste of winter? It's not, today is officially winter, right?
Yeah.
So like, did we get a taste of winter? Was it a preview what we had a couple weeks ago? Or is it now behind us?
Oh, no. I don't think so. Meteorological winter, by the way. We've been cruising
Right,
through
right,
that.
right, yeah.
So we've got a lot of winter ahead of us, I'm sure. But it's just kind of a reprieve from the cold. And, you know, at normal temperatures, where we should be is in the 30s, our normal temperature is going to continue to go down. It's not going up just yet. For Christmas Day, I believe it's 32 degrees right at freezing is our normal high. So this is abnormal, but I hope you get the opportunity to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, this is like what we had a couple weeks ago. You're like, got a lot of questions about that. Like, is the snow coming back for January? Coming back for February? Or do we bear down and are we on to better days?
Did you put your air conditioner back on?
Listen, you know I don't
Stop.
like.
No, you
You
didn't.
know I don't like it hot. I do not like it hot. Caitlin Cody knows this. It took a whole lot. It took the extended below freezing, below
zero wind chills
temperatures
for
me to put the heat on.
Is the air conditioning back on? Oh no! Oh my god! I cannot with you.
I
I cannot with you.
Well,
Open your windows.
Well, I've got bad allergies, so that.
Okay.
But I even when I put the heat on for a little bit, I was like, okay. So I still put the fan on even during that time.
Yes.
I just
it gets dry and stuffy inside. I have the fan on too. I'm with you. And for white noise.
So
the air conditioning. That is so.
It might be on year round this year. Who
Oh,
knows?
my
Who knows?
goodness.
We'll see. If the temperatures drop again, we might change
the
things.
50s, it's a little bit toasty.
Yeah. We're cruising now. Like, it makes sense now, right?
Sure. Sure.
Caitlin, thank
She's
you.
the only one in Chicago with their air conditioning on.
Somebody out there feels how I feel. Maybe. I don't know. Thank you,
Merry
Caitlin.
Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. We'll be right back. $1:40 right now. Thank you for staying with us here on Chicago Live, everyone. What I have loved really over the last few weeks is being able to find different people, companies, businesses in our area that are just stepping up right in the nick of time for so many people who are in need in many different ways. And so that goes for a local restaurant that we're going to talk to now, the owner of 2D Restaurant. They are filling a gap when it comes to meals for kids during their winter break. Kevin Yu, the founder of 2D Restaurant, is joining me now. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having us here.
Absolutely. I love this. When I saw this, I just thought it was awesome what you all are doing. Tell everybody about the program that you're running, and it starts today, right?
Yes. So as a CPS parent myself, I learned that during winter breaks or any kind of breaks, many families scramble getting lunch for their little ones. And that's when we realized we got to step up for our community. So starting from now till the end of the winter breaks, in both of our stores in Lakeview and Michigan Avenue, we're offering at least 10, if not more, chicken bentos for any family that's in need, either dining or takeout, no string attached, no purchase necessary.
That's so wonderful. I mean, what does it mean to you to be able to help out in that way? I mean, obviously, it's a blessing for your business to thrive to a point where you're able to do something like that.
It bring me back to my childhood. I came from a family with both working parents. There are times during breaks that lunch is a bit challenging, and we're so blessed with the community supporting 2D the past few years. This has been a pretty cold winter for all the business, but that's when we realized we gotta do something to support the community even more. This has been one of the many things we are blessed to be able to support the community, and we want to welcome everybody. If we can help bring a little more joy, a little more warmth to your family, please stop by any of our locations, and we are here to support you.
Yeah, is this the first time you all have done this?
We did this actually every winter. We have done we do a soup drive every winter whenever it gets cold, welcoming anybody, not just kids, that could use a warm bowl soup to stop by our location. That's actually taking place right now through the entire winter. We've done a lot of supporting of children during the COVID period, but this is the first time that we're making a public announcement welcoming anybody in need to come stop by our restaurant and let us support you.
Tell me about the concept behind 2D. I know we've had a couple reporters who have come out to your restaurant locations before, and I think it's always pretty neat what you all have there on a regular basis.
We call ourselves the happiest restaurant of them all. The entire restaurant is hand-drawn, looking like a comic book, and we are so lucky we now have an exhibit inside the shops at Northbridge at the first level, looking out to the Michigan Avenue for an immersive 2D holiday theme that's hand-drawn by my wife and myself for a large gingerbread house exhibition that is completely free to the public. We want to continue our journey on spreading joy to the Chicago community, one stroke at a time, one bento at a time.
I love it. When we look at your background there, what are we seeing?
This is a 2D living room that's decorated in a gingerbread fashion inside the shops at Northbridge on Michigan Avenue. In here, you will see a custom-made 2D furniture that is painted, hand-drawn by myself, along with various of different art. We want to transport all of the patrons to a space that we could all forget about the chaos in life and share a little bit of joy that Vanessa and I wanted to bring to the public. We want to do that through our art, through our creativity, and through our food. I am a chef by heart. That's what I love to do other than creating art. And it is, for me, a blessing in the sky to be able to cook and prepare meal for the children here in Chicago.
Yeah. How long have you all had your restaurants, and how did they come to be?
It's just the fourth year for us here in the Chicagoland. We started during the pandemic. We really want to create a space that is unlike the real world. If we all can remember, during the pandemic, we all had nowhere to go. Vanessa and I were the same way too. We were supposed to go to Paris for a honeymoon. Unfortunately, the plane was canceled. So instead of going to Paris, we decided to bring our honeymoon to Chicago using our beloved art in a comic manga format. From there, we were blessed to have the chance to do our art in Lakeview, Uptown, Glen Allen, and now we are on Michigan Avenue inside shops at Northbridge.
Wow. I love this story. I hate that you all didn't get to go, to your honeymoon in the beginning. Did you ever make the trip to Paris?
Oh, we have a first grader in CPS right now, so we're gonna wait until he grew a little older and appreciate the art, the food in Paris, and then we're gonna be on our way.
Well, clearly there was a lot of purpose behind, that moment, that pause that you all had. You all have been able to do so much from it, and so many people have benefited from it. So we thank you for taking that moment in time that, a lot of people would just be like, oh, there was a lot that hit us during the pandemic, but using it to help so many people thereafter. Again, thank you for the program that's going to help kids. It's going on, like we said, it starts today, and then how long is it going on?
It's going to go all the way until January 5th. And we want to encourage any family, even after the event ends, if there's anything we can do for you, please stop by one of our stores. It will be our privilege to support you.
You all are wonderful. Thank you again for what you're doing. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank you so much.
All right, you take care, Kevin. It's 1:47 right now, everyone. Just great to be able to, again, appreciate those who are in our community who do get to a place where they're able to give back in a meaningful way. And again, the program that 2D restaurants have is from December 22nd through January 4th. And you heard him speaking about their different location. So they're at 3155 North Halstead. That's a 2D Mart. 520 North Michigan Avenue, level 4 there. You can go there, where they're offering these 10 bowls over the course of the entire break. 10 bowls per day per location. That is tremendous. And so hats off to them for being able to help out so many different families who are struggling right now or just tight right now, 1:48 though, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's 1:52 right now. Let's talk about a couple of things before we hit our 2 o'clock hour. Let's go to Wall Street first and foremost and see how things are shaping up today. Look at that. We are in the green. Wonderful to see that after, kind of a mixed week. Last week, we were all over the place. So what I'm seeing here is that, obviously, right on your screen, you can see the Dow Jones is up over 250 points at the moment. The S&P 500 also rose today. They say this is because of some technology shares here. And the NASDAQ composite has climbed about 0.6% as of right now. Again, coming off of a mixed week, there were some late surges here, so it's nice to see this bounce continuing into the new week. It says here that investors are watching to see whether AI stocks can retain their leadership heading into the year end, all right? Especially, they say, as investors are rotating into some other parts of the market amid concerns about lofty tech valuations. So there's a reason to still maybe see some change in things and before the day ends, and certainly as the week goes on. But it's nice to see that things are at least shaping up nicely as of right now. The key stocks as of right now are linked to artificial intelligence. That's clearly given a boost to the market at this point in time. NVIDIA shares moved higher, they're saying too. So there are several different things that are kind of going on here, but a broad mix of things happening. And again, a lot of green on your screen. So we love to see that. We'll see if we can close the day out in the green. Let's take you to Washington, D.C. again, because as I mentioned, as we got into our broadcast here, we are waiting what could be a major announcement coming up in our 3 o'clock hour. We are going to have here online, but then also on air. If you have to step away from your computer or your cell phone for a moment, if you want to, put that screen away and look up to your TV, we'll also have on air the announcement that's coming from the president in the 3 o'clock hour. Should be around 3:30. When the President, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and also the Secretary of the Navy are going to be together from Mar-a-Lago at the President's residence there. This is coming off of another oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela being seized over the weekend. International waters, lots of conversation as to these repeated strikes that have been happening and what comes from those. It has been an increasingly tense situation and relations with Venezuela as these seizures have been taking place of these vessels. So we saw one that created quite a bit of controversy, that with multiple strikes on that particular vessel, and there was a conversation, were those war crimes? Some people believe there were war crimes because it was more than one strike that took place on that one vessel. Now, the president says that these have all been impacting safety. Ultimately, that these are drug boats, or that the vessels, that are being seized are connected to, nefarious actions that are happening worldwide and here at home. But there's been a lot of conversation as to how far these actions should go, how many strikes there should be. Should Congress have to approve them? Again, there were the accusations of war crimes because there was a vessel that was hit more than once. There were survivors from that first strike that took place. So that second strike that happened, was that tantamount to war crimes? Plenty of conversation there. So again, in our 3 o'clock hour, the president, Secretaries Hegseth, and also the Secretary of the Navy will be at Mar-a-Lago and giving some type of announcement from there. We will see what is had from that, but I'm sure there will be a lot of conversation as to whatever that announcement is coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. So we're staying on top of that as well. Again, we are working on several other stories. Right after the break, we are going to talk about one topic that I think we all kind of feel, but maybe don't necessarily have a name for in many circumstances. If you think about the holidays, they are filled with a lot of holly, a lot of jolly. Everybody's running to and from, getting to wonderful things that are happening. As we were speaking with Caitlin, the weather's nice right now, kind of quiet at the moment. Maybe you want to get out with your family, but you also have 80 million things running through your head. Do we have everything ready for dinner? I was talking to someone just earlier today about they're preparing their turkey for the first time. So take it out of the freezer now. Those types of things. Many different things going through our minds in terms of preparations. So there's actually a syndrome, a holiday heart syndrome that comes from the stress that the holidays can create. We're going to talk about it with a doctor coming up after this break, so stick with us. We're going to walk you through that and make sure we're all doing okay this holiday season in the midst of the hustle and the bustle, to just take a few moments to make sure we're well. All right, let's take a quick break, 2 minutes, and we'll be right back with that conversation and more. Welcome back, everyone. We are in our 2 o'clock hour now here on Chicago Live. If you're just joining us, thank you so much for being here. And if you've been with us through the 1 o'clock hour, let's go ahead and proceed into what's happening in this 2 o'clock hour. We're getting ready to talk about several different things. The girls hockey all-stars. So excited. You heard us even on Friday as we were getting ready to talk about a women's hockey game that was happening on Sunday here in the area at Allstate Arena. And now we get to talk about the young girls who are coming up behind them, who may be pros themselves one day. And so we're going to talk about this next big step for them. We're going to talk about doulas coming to the South Side in a big way, free doulas for residents there on the South Side and others who may need it. So that's a wonderful program that's just getting started, and we'll be able to talk a little bit more about that. Brett, outside of the Bears-Packers game, that conversation about the Bears that just took off last week in the middle of the week that kind of came out of nowhere and has its own legs and is running, and that would be, where is the Bears' home going to be of the future? Will it be in Northwest Indiana? Will it be somewhere else? Will it be in Arlington Heights? Would it be in country? There's so many different factions who are pulling at them to come that way, especially right now. I mean, they're a hot team right now. This is the time to have the conversation. So he's going to talk to us about another team that had a similar situation and what they have just decided to do. That is just happening within the last 30 minutes. They had a big announcement just within the last 30 minutes. So a good conversation there that we'll have with Brett Bugansky. But let's start this hour off with speaking with a doctor, not just any doctor, a heart doctor, a cardiologist, because holiday cheer plus holiday stress that everyone's under can actually equal holiday heart syndrome. It is a real thing. And Dr. Arjun Mehta is joining me to speak about this concept that I don't think anyone has maybe ever heard the term for, but we've all felt it. Dr. Mehta, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. So here in Chicago, we see this every holiday season. We call it holiday heart syndrome. When you get stress, alcohol, salty foods, poor sleep, and even a great Bears victory that trigger heart rhythm problems and heart attacks. And it's specific to Chicago. I do believe that it's a bit worse just given the climate. Obviously, extremely cold weather this week. We're lucky to have better than usual weather. But when you're out shoveling snow, and the weather is quite cold, the blood vessels can also constrict, and that's an added stress. But nationally, December 25th is actually has the highest number of cardiac-related deaths of any day in the year.
Wow.
And that's followed by December 26th and January 1st. So
it's all back to back. Oh my goodness. And so there are a lot of different things that factor into that. Obviously we typically associate joy with this season, but there's so much more in terms of, again, people just kind of feeling overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And obviously that can lead to things like increased alcohol intake, and alcohol plays a big role in some of this stuff. Even short-term binge drinking can raise the risk of a condition that I particularly specialize in treat called atrial fibrillation. It's the most common heart rhythm abnormality in the world, in fact. But, we can see a risk of atrial fibrillation rise about 30 to 40% with binge drinking, and that spike usually occurs after the holiday weekends.
Does that apply to like all substances? Whether it's marijuana or something else that, people maybe because the weather's a little bit better, like you said, this week, but when it is cold, people staying inside that they may indulge in?
Yeah, and again, indulging isn't the problem. Overindulging tends to be the problem. If you can enjoy with family and friends in moderation, that's a recipe for success and a healthy season. But yeah, in terms of other substances, et cetera, the data isn't quite there, but we do know particularly about salty foods and increased alcohol intake causing increased rhythm problems like the rhythm I mentioned, atrial fibrillation, and also heart failure exacerbations, meaning people who have a weakened heart already if they eat an incredibly a diet that has incredibly salty food in it. And that's not sodium, that's not salt we're putting on top of the food. That's the sodium that's already included in the food we're eating. So you have to look at those nutritional facts.
Okay, so Dr. Arjun, what are some things that you suggest people do differently during this time?
Well, again, like I said, one of the first things is if you're preparing your own food or you're ordering food, either way, make sure you take a look at the nutritional facts. Portion control can be one way to sort of mitigate and improve the situation. Try not to overeat because obviously you're consuming double the salt if you do that. In terms of alcohol, intake, try to limit to 2 to 3 alcoholic beverages per sitting. And I think those are some basic, easy ways to create some rules for oneself going into the holiday season.
Does New Year, New Me help it, or is it like, I mean, if we were seeing the 25th, 26th, and there was another date that was in there, is it all of those things kind of the things that hinder us going into the holiday season? If we are overindulging during the holiday season, should we get through that critical time period that you talked about, does New Year, New Me kind of flip the switch on it? Talk about the damage done during that time and whether just starting a new year right can flip us back.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a common misconception that you can kind of, overindulge during the holiday season. And then if you just do a clean January, that everything's just going to go away. But the problem is sometimes you can, when you overdo it during the holiday season, you reach a point of no return, which results in an emergency room visit or a hospitalization. So keeping things in moderation during the holiday season is also of the utmost importance. And then going into the new year, I think, obviously doing like a dry January or something like that is there's nothing wrong with that, but consistency is obviously the most important thing. So if you can, often when I see patients and we talk about things like weight loss, I try to set very short-term tangible goals. Like, for example, I tell a lot of my patients, set a goal to lose 1 pound per week. And if you set that goal with portion control and your diet mainly, by the end of the year, if you actually achieve it, that's a lot of weight lost, even if you fail on some of those weeks. So I think that that's a very typical thing. Like, you see a lot of people that, eat poorly, drink a lot of alcohol during this holiday season, and then thinking that, I'll just get back to it in January, but the damage is already done, and it's already resulted in a hospitalization.
And so, with so many of us gathering during the holidays, and I want to talk about two things there. One, how many of us are gathering, but then also I want to come back and talk about loneliness during the holidays. So I don't want to forget to go back to that. But when it comes to those of us who are gathering during the holidays, let's talk about like signs and symptoms that something may be going wrong with someone in front of you. I think it's important that we recognize if there is something happening.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll do that, primarily from the cardiac perspective. But I would say that one of the first telling signs is shortness of breath. So if someone used to be able to walk up a flight of stairs, no problem, and now they can't get up 3 stairs, that's a sign that there may be some, and that can be a sign of multiple different things. That can be heart rhythm abnormalities, that can be heart failure exacerbation, meaning that's just a fancy term for fluid builds up because the heart is not strong enough to process the load of volume and salt that the body is having to tolerate. And so shortness of breath, I would say, is definitely a marker. Swelling of the legs can be a telltale sign, and trouble lying flat. If you need to prop yourself up on a couple pillows, but you used to be able to lie flat, that's another sign of heart failure or fluid retention in the body. Sometimes the swelling isn't just localized to the legs. It can be present in other parts of the body, so I'd say swelling in general. And then finally, chest pain. Chest pain is a marker of a multitude of different illnesses, but can include a heart attack, can include atrial fibrillation, the rhythm I talked to you about, can include even heart failure exacerbation, meaning fluid retention. So chest discomfort is something to be mindful of as well.
Yeah, and all of those things, time is of the essence if we notice them. Walk us through, the necessary steps if you do see something happen to a loved one.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I would say err on the side of caution, right? And one of the other things that we haven't talked about is also people wanting to procrastinate bringing someone to seek medical care in a timely fashion because they're traveling for and seeing family, and obviously it's an inopportune time to have to visit the ER. But when you delay seeking medical care, when you see someone who's severely short of breath or having active chest discomfort, that's very dangerous and can result in an even worse course of the illness and progression of the illness the next day. So I would say, all the symptoms I mentioned, especially if severe, warrant medical attention and should not be procrastinated on because that can result in even worse outcomes.
Yeah, and let me go back to the aspect of people who may be lonely during this time of year. We focus on a lot of gathering, but I always say that the holidays aren't holly for everyone. And I do think that, the levels of depression can also go up during this time of year when people may not be in a celebratory mood. So can you kind of speak to the health issues that you do find in those situations?
Absolutely. We know that depression and stress are clearly linked to cardiac health. And so, and that's a difficult thing to treat acutely, meaning in terms of there's no miracle medicine that will take that away. What I do think is, the sense of community, people going to community events and giving some of those people who may not have family or may be less fortunate attention and time. And I think there are various community events that you can attend and help, food kitchens, etc. And so it's a real factor in cardiac health. It's part of the category of stress, I would say, under the umbrella of stress, right? Loneliness is stressful. And so, I think that's something. And then for the long term, obviously talking to someone, seeing a medical professional in case medications are indicated, all of those things can help prevent, catastrophes or disasters.
Yeah, and on a final note, going back to the new year, new me, you often find that people push a little too hard right in the new year, who maybe shouldn't, if you haven't been in the gym in a really long time, those could have cardiac issues as well.
Absolutely. And like I was telling you before, we somewhat see this with when it gets snowy, right? People who are physically inactive for the entire year, then they have to go out and shovel the snow in their driveway. And then you see cardiac events related to that. And so same thing goes with working out, consistency is obviously best. As I told you before, many times I try to set a 1 week goal rather than, look at the whole mountain at once, you take it step by step. And so I would say that absolutely knowing your limits is important, and trying to go 0 to 100 in January is not the right strategy,
Yeah. Dr. Arjun Mehta, thank you so much for your time and sharing your expertise with us. Again, as he said, everyone, more cardiac deaths occur in the U.S. on December 25th, 26th, and January 1st. He is with Rush University Medical Center, and we so appreciate what you do on a regular basis to help and save lives. Thank you.
Thank you, and bear down.
Bear down, the cardiac bears. All right. It's 2:16 right now, everyone. Brett Bugansky just walked in here, so give us a quick break. We'll reset, and we'll bring him in after this. Back at 218 with our friend Brett Bugansky, who is on quite the story today. So you and I were here on Saturday night. You know, we were just saying the cardiac bears, as we were speaking with the cardiologist there, really gave us quite the scare before quite the thrilling victory.
You know, it's funny. I just got off a Zoom with our friend Mark Gannis, who analyzes all the NFL stadium deals and potentials here. But this is one of those news days what you just cannot fathom. The Kansas City Chiefs are reportedly moving out of the state of Missouri into the state of Kansas. So there was a Kansas Legislative Coordinating Council that just voted minutes ago to approve star bonds in order to pay for the stadium over time to lure the Kansas City Chiefs over to the state of Kansas. And there's going to be a press conference in about 40 minutes in Topeka with Kansas Governor Laura Kelly, where they're going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs moving to the state of Kansas.
So obviously it's huge. Again, coming off of the Bears win on Saturday night, everyone around here is buzzing about what's next for the Bears. And there was the conversation in the middle of the week, CEO, President Kevin Warren sends out a letter and says, well, we're going to expand our options. So now you see what's happening in Kansas City. And our conversation gets even more thrilling around here as to, no, wait a minute. I mean, we knew it wasn't unheard of to begin with, but does seeing what happens there influence what happens here?
So our friend Mark Gannon says if you were the state of Illinois, if you were Governor J.B. Pritzker, you have to be worried because you look at the Kansas City area, the state lines get blurred between Missouri and Kansas. And so essentially playing in a Kansas City suburb is really not a big stretch here. You've already got Sporting KC in the state of Kansas, even though they have a Kansas City, Missouri name. So this whole idea of potentially the Chicago Bears going to Northwest Indiana, whether that be Gary, Indiana, Hammond, Indiana, you start to ask the questions, is this serious now?
Yeah.
Since Kevin Warren made that announcement on 5 o'clock last Wednesday that they are once again opening the possibilities up of the Bears relocating outside of the city, outside of Arlington Heights, potentially to the state of Indiana. You have to know, or you have to wonder if they're watching this vote closely. And speaking with Mark Gannon, he says absolutely, the Chicago Bears are looking at this right now.
Yeah. I mean, in leveraging all things, leveraging all possibilities here. They're doing a site survey in Hammond today, so, I mean, everything is on the table at this point in time. And Indiana's really getting a lot of love from a lot of people in terms of the fact that this is a real possibility.
They have been, I believe there was a publication that came out today. I don't remember which one it was. Indiana was voted State of the Year, but you look at what they've been able to gather just in Indianapolis by being able to host Big Ten, Super Bowl, in professional wrestling. They're going to be able to host WrestleManias, Royal Rumbles, SummerSlams. They're going to be able to host them over the last few years. And because they've got the convention that is connected directly to Lucas Oil Stadium, these are all things that are playing a role into, all right, what's the bigger picture here? Well, the bigger picture for Kansas City in moving to the state of Kansas is reportedly they're going to be able to have a dome in the state of Kansas. What does that mean for the Chiefs? Well, it gives them an opportunity to host Super Bowls.
Right.
You have NCAA
They don't know anything
basketball.
about Super Bowls. The Chiefs don't know anything about Super Bowls.
Well, and that's what makes this even more interesting is that you look at recent history.
Yeah.
Besides this season, the Kansas City Chiefs were a winning organization. And when it went to the vote of the people in the county in Missouri, the voters overwhelmingly said no. So you have to look at this and say, two things can be true at once. You have fans of a team, but then you also have taxpayers say, yes, I want this team to do very well, but when it comes to funding your stadiums, I think that other people should pay for it. I don't want to pay for it myself. So you look at what happened today in Topeka, Kansas, and this press conference that's happening in, 37 minutes from now. You have to wonder if Kevin Warren, if the McCaskey family, the rest of the Bears owners and the minority, if Governor J.B. Pritzker, some of the other deal makers in Springfield are going to be looking at what happened today and say, hey, maybe we need to go to the negotiating table.
Yeah, because I think when the conversation began, I mean, make no mistake about it, I believe that Kevin Warren was brought here for this specific purpose, to get us a new stadium, wherever that ends up being. He had already done it at his last job with the Vikings. He already got them a new home. So make no mistake, I do believe that that's a part of why he was brought here. And so ratcheting up this conversation now, I think you have the environment in terms of a winning team to be able to do it. When he first brought up the idea, the Bears were not a winning team, and Kansas City, that was coming off of a Super Bowl, couldn't even get it past their public. So it was like, well, how could you? And Kansas City can't even. But the environment is different now.
And it's a different,
on both fronts.
And it's a different political landscape here. When I spoke with Lawrence Holmes from 670 The Score on Thursday, he felt that this deal or a potential move to Northwest Indiana could have unintended consequences. What did he mean by that? The fact that this could become a very partisan topic.
Sure.
With the fact that you have some on the Republican Party saying, see, the Bears are moving out of Chicago, they're moving out of Illinois, they're coming to Indiana, where there is a supermajority of Republicans. Looking at the state of Kansas, you have a Democratic governor, but you also have a supermajority of Republicans. They see this as an opportunity to say, hey, look, it didn't work in the state of Missouri, come on over to Kansas where the taxes are a lot better.
Which is a conversation that Paris Schutz, our political reporter, for those who weren't here in our 1 o'clock hour, we touched on a bit with him, because even as you go through the budget battle for the city budget, these are the conversations that kind of keep coming up. The pro-business versus anti-business environment. Which side of the fence do you want to be on? Do you want to be a place where businesses are attracted, or do you want to be a place where businesses say, cost, is it in my cost analysis, does it work out? Or should I go somewhere else where I'm going to get more of an incentive to do well?
And the Hunt family that owns the Kansas City Chiefs, they are part of the old AFL. They come from oil and gas money. So they, unlike the McCaskies that own the Bears, they have other sources of income here, but yet this organization that was up until this season a winning organization, very popular franchise. People know Patrick Mahomes. They certainly know Travis Kelce, and they know Taylor Swift. So this is an organization that is certainly in the national spotlight. But even then, with all the history at Arrowhead Stadium, with Lamar Hunt, founder of the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly of the AFL, the Dallas Texans, they have decided, you know what, there is history there, but sometimes it's time to move on and move on to another place. Having that dome stadium also gives an opportunity of what we've heard from some of the heads of the Chicago Bears. It gives an opportunity to have year-round attractions, to get a piece of the revenue when it comes to some of the concerts, some of the bigger events like the Big Ten, like a WrestleMania. You have like an RNC and DNC. These are all events that they can get a piece of, and simply having an open-air stadium like Arrowhead, similar to Soldier Field, they're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, this is a major development today, and we'll see if it has any impact on the conversation surrounding the Bears and where things go from here. Obviously, a lot of folks hoping that in the end, the Chicago Bears stay in Chicago some kind of way. But now the conversation just gets a little bit more interesting when you see what happens with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and even our very own Tia Ewing had done a really good job with this ride along with the mayor of Gary, Indiana. He was even saying, look, we don't expect them to change their names. They could still be the Chicago Bears and have their home in Gary, Indiana. This is exactly what's going to be happening with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're still the Kansas City Chiefs, and this isn't unheard of that a professional sports team is playing in a city they don't represent, or even in another state they represent.
We don't call them the New Jersey Giants.
Exactly.
But
even just some anecdotal stuff here. I've been tweeting with some of my old colleagues here in Kansas and even Kansas City, Missouri, right where Governor Laura Kelly in Kansas is going to be having this press conference called the Docking Building. They already have a sign up that says Chiefs in Kansas.
Oh, yeah. And I think we were hearing some things that people have sponsored a billboard in Indiana that's gone up where they're saying, come on, you know, so, all right. I love when things get spicy. Let's,
Things are getting interesting, especially since that Bears 49ers game has gotten flexed already to that game on next week.
We are excited about where things go from here. Thank you so much, Brett. I know you'll stay on it again. How many minutes are we away from that press conference?
So we're 32 minutes away, and just to show you how important that vote was in Topeka, Kansas, you not only had Clark Hunt, the chairman of the Kansas City Chiefs, you had Mark Donovan, president of the Chiefs, and it looks like they're expecting to be at that press conference at 3 o'clock.
Okay, big announcement to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, let's take a quick break, 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, and thanks so much for staying with us here on Chicago Live. It's 2:31 right now, and if you were with us on Friday, so we were closing out the week, we were able to speak to one of the players for the hockey team, the women's hockey team from Ottawa, and she is from our area here in Chicagoland, and she was getting ready to make her return home to be able to play at Allstate Arena for a women's hockey game between Ottawa and Minnesota, I believe. And what a moment it is just to see the growth of the Women's Hockey League, to see more professional women be able to take up hockey, take it to the next level, and open doors for those who come behind them. And, obviously, hopefully, one day Chicago itself or Illinois itself will have a women's hockey team as well. But until that day, at least we're getting to see the movement. We're getting to see the road that's being paved for young girls who are coming up in hockey. And in fact, the Northern Illinois Hockey League is getting ready to host their girls national division all-star event tonight. It's going to be at the Rosemont Ice Arena. It's going to be plenty of young girls from our area and beyond who are just doing amazing things now with a roadmap to see where they can go. The president of the NIHL is joining me. Bob Apter has been doing great things. Bob, great to see you again. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. Good to be back.
So tell us about this moment where we come to the All-Star event.
Well, this year we're having two different events. The first one is for the national, which is our upper levels, and the second one is for our American, which is our lower levels. Tonight is the national. There's four ages: 12U, 14U, 16U, and 19U. They'll be going on both rinks simultaneously, and the 16U and the 19U level will be carried live on Marquee Sports, and all four games will be carried live on our Nihil TV network.
Yeah. How long have you worked in girls hockey?
We probably, I don't remember the exact year we started, but we've been involved in girls hockey for close to 20 years now.
Yeah. And
it started with 6 or 7 teams. Now we're up to 76.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about, the growth over that time. That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Before, they used to just have to hope that we could have a division that would succeed, because if it didn't have enough teams for a comfortable season, then we didn't have enough to play each other, then we had to fold levels. But now we're to the point where each age level has 3 divisions, except for the youngest, so he still has 2. But all the older levels have 3 divisions, so you're always playing somebody equal. So the goal is most games will be competitive.
It's all getting there.
Hockey keeps people coming.
Yeah, it's all getting there. It's all growing. It's all developing, and it's right before our eyes. What does that mean to you to be able to see that?
I've been in hockey my whole life, and I'm very passionate about it. And it is the one area in Illinois that is really growing is the girls, whereas the boys have started to slide a little bit in growth. So we put a lot of our efforts into making sure that the growth becomes the focal point. And so our league has put a lot of resources into it, and we're really hoping to make every event spectacular, starting with tonight. And our playoffs will be in February, and our championships February 28th and March 1st at the brand new Fifth Third facility that they're finishing up in mid-January. So it should be a fantastic event there too.
How do you convince someone who maybe never considered hockey for their daughter to join the league?
Well, the joining of the league is a team decision, so that the local clubs decide whether they want to put the girls' team in. We try and make it all-inclusive and find parity, and we actually have committees at the upper levels and the lower levels to listen to club input. We don't always take it, but we do try and listen and see where we'll get the most involved. And I will say a lot of teams play independent schedules in past years, but pretty much every Illinois team, and then there's teams in 5 surrounding states now that have all gone back, and they're all in the league now.
But what is it about hockey that is an incentive for a young woman to be a part of?
Well, I don't know if you remember, but we had 2 girls from Chicago, Darien Hawks, on their show a month and a half ago. And I think they summed it up much better than I can. The camaraderie, the friendship, the building of self-confidence that leads to other aspects of life. I think those are the things that really make it special for the girls. And plus, in other sports, they don't really have, like, I know baseball has a softball league, but they don't really have the same exact sport per se, like hockey does, where you can play the same exact game that the boys are playing, only in all girls teams.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. I mean, as we see like the flag football start to come out, and grow for young ladies, and that baseball's still one of those areas. We actually spoke very recently with someone who was a part of a women's pro baseball league that they're kind of growing that now. But again, sport to sport, not baseball for the young men and softball for the girls, but baseball on both sides. For hockey, you do have that. And now we see, the women's professional league making their run here at Allstate Arena. I mean, tell me what that means to the young ladies to be able to see even that aspect of things. Like there's more ahead for them now. Like it's not just a hobby doing hockey or something that you can do, to pass some time, but it could be a real career.
Yeah, and we're seeing more and more colleges offer club level girls hockey, which is something they can play well beyond just graduating and playing recreational. They're set, like I think you mentioned Kendall Coyne earlier. She played in the Northern Illinois Hockey League years ago. So we're seeing more and more girls that have played in the Northern, then they move on to play Tier 1, and then they move on to all the way up to professional hockey, and they showing a path, and they can see the path. And I will say that I think more and more, I can't speak as other sports, but hockey really, they like to give back. So there's more and more girls that reach out and show the path to younger girls to make it seem like a more camaraderie. So it really has its advantages that it's growing nationally because it shows the path, and they like to give back to the younger girls.
I love that, and it truly matters. And yes, you know, when we spoke with the young lady on Friday, that she did talk about, you know, being able to speak with those who are coming behind her. And I know that makes such a difference for the young ladies coming behind her. So as you're seeing all of this growth, what are some of the things you still hope to see in the future for either your league or for women's hockey overall?
I'd like to see our league continue to grow, and I'm hoping, based on the phone calls we're getting from surrounding areas and the Illinois growth, that within a year or two we crack the 100-team marker. And I would also like to see it where more and more girls are choosing to play just girls instead of playing, but there's still a sizable number of girls that decide all the way up until maybe 14 years old that they're going to play boys co-ed hockey. And I'm hoping as the numbers continue to grow for girls, you'll see more and more slip just into girls hockey, so the number of teams and the competition can grow.
Yeah, it obviously gets more competitive with more young ladies choosing to focus just on that. And again, a large part of that is having more options too.
Yeah, and we'd like to provide options for all levels. So like I was saying before, we have 3 levels of hockey. So after 6 or 8 games, we decide whether the clubs appropriately put their teams, and if we feel they didn't and they weren't competitive, then we move them down to a later level, which hopefully will be more successful. Or sometimes we move teams that were in the lower level that are surprising everybody with how good they're doing, and we move them up, and hopefully the competitive season keeps kids coming back and playing. Because as we found out when we used to run the boys years ago, the blowouts lead to people finding other ways to spend their money, because hockey is an expensive sport. And if you're having games where you're losing by 6-7 goals and you're never touching the puck, parents are finding other things to do. So by having levels that every game is competitive and everybody feels like it was a good experience, it leads to people wanting to come back and continue playing.
Yeah. Okay. Walk us through the schedule for All-Star Weekend or week.
Well, it's just today. I know that our girls' teams were offered tickets by the PWHL, and I know a sizable number of girls bought them. And I know there were some clinics put on by the PWHL Saturday and Sunday. But for tonight, it's just the 4 All-Star games. They're at Rosemont Ice Arena, and the 16U and the 19U is on the West Rink. The first game is at 6:30, and the second game is approximately 8:30, depending on how long the first game goes. And the next 12U and the 14U is on the East Rink. The first game starts at 6:40, and the second game is scheduled to start around 8 o'clock, 8:10, depending on how late that game goes. You can walk back and forth. Admission is free. There should be a lot of good hockey out there and a lot of fun. We do something different than most All-Star games. We take an even number of girls from each organization and split them evenly on separate teams. So not only are they getting to play with girls that they're used to playing against, but they're playing against girls they're used to playing with. So we found that girls really like that in the last few years. So it's something that we've tried and we're sticking with it.
All right. Well, wonderful. I'm excited for all of the young ladies who are getting to participate in this. It's some good competition, and can't wait to see who comes out on top.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Bob, for being here again. And thank you for what you do to raise the profile for all of these young ladies and give them more opportunities. We appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
All right, you take care. 2:42, everyone. Should be very, very exciting, this all-star event for girls here in our area and beyond. Again, just wonderful to see the opportunities expanding in sport for our young ladies and women. All right, 2:43. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back with our doula conversation. Welcome back, everyone. 2:45 right now. Really looking forward to this conversation after a major announcement from the Southside Healthy Community Organization about bringing free doula services to Southside residents. It's really an outstanding extension of healthcare for people who need it. Kiana Tompkins is joining me now. She's the program manager for maternal health. Great to meet you, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's nice meeting you as well.
I said that this is a wonderful thing. When we talk about just equity in healthcare, there are so many important aspects to it, and doulas have to be a part of that conversation.
Yes. Most definitely. Doulas are a major topic of conversation when it comes to maternal health and disparities. They provide so many different services to be able to support our families. I say not only our moms, but our dads and the entire family. And so we try to just provide a outside support system, outside of family, outside of healthcare, with providers. They are a trusted, source, doing before as well as after pregnancy. And so our families are empowered with these doula providers to just ask questions, advocate for themselves, and they just support it on every avenue and every step of the way.
Advocating for yourself is critical. I would like you to speak a little bit more about Black maternal mortality and how this shifts maybe some of the statistics, horrible statistics that we see.
Most definitely. So, of course, Black maternal mortality as well as Black infant mortality has been in the news for quite some time. And according to the CDC, Black mothers die 3 times more than our white counterparts during childbirth. And also our Black infant mortality rate is twice that of white infants. And so sometimes we have to wonder why that is. And one of the the biggest things is access to healthcare, access to affordable housing, transportation. We do live in some of these maternal deserts, especially here on the south side of Chicago, in which the Southside Healthy Community Organization serve. And so we try to partner with our federally qualified health centers on the south side, and also additional community-based organizations to ensure that our families are supported through social determinants of health. So making sure that they're able to get to those doctor's appointments, putting in high-risk healthcare systems such as maternal fetal medicine on site at our healthcare centers, as well as ultrasounds. Too many times here on the south side of Chicago, we have to go outside of our community to get this healthcare services. And so we're closing those gaps. We want to be able to bring those systemic racisms down so that we are a topic of conversation and providing well-being overall care to our patients.
Yeah, I mean, so much of the conversation right now when it comes to healthcare is about subsidies expiring at the top of the new year, the premiums going up for so many people. How are you all, I mean, I heard you mention federally qualified, but how are you all making this possible, these doulas, for free?
And so with the Southside, at the Southside Healthy Community Organization, we are funded by the state of Illinois. And so we have those funds to be able to subsidize these providers, these healthcare organizations, to ensure that we are putting in place access to care. And so doula is just one part of that access. And so we have partnered with Chicago Birthworks Collective on the South Side, right in Hyde Park, and they are able to provide 80 more slots for patients here on the south side of Chicago to ensure that they have the support that they need.
Wow, 80 more slots is tremendous. And what types of things will they be able to get? What kinds of services?
Yes, so our patients, they will leave with 3 prenatal visits throughout their journey. They will have 2 postpartum visits. They will also have support during labor and delivery, birth, as well as postpartum preparation and education. Most definitely want to bring that to the forefront because sometimes our community do not know what a doula do. And so it is important that we put these measures in place to ensure that our residents are well equipped and informed about their overall wide range of healthcare services. And so they come into the home, they go to the hospital, they go to prenatal and postpartum visits with their patients to ensure that they are getting appropriate care.
That's awesome. You have someone who is with you all the way. And I was going to, have you kind of break down what a doula is for those who maybe don't really understand.
So a doula is just that additional outside support for our patients who are experiencing the pregnancy journey. And so they are there to just coach, assist, ask questions. They are there to also just help you navigate social resources or connect you back to healthcare. And so they are just there to have that calming, that soothing personality so that they can ensure that this delivery is seamless as possible. But also to mention that our doulas are making sure that they receive the appropriate health care throughout their pregnancy. So making sure that they're getting to those prenatal appointments, having a birthing plan, what does that look like? And having the parents understand that they can create their own plan along with their healthcare providers.
And which can be helpful whether it's your first child or whether you're a pro in the game. It can be helpful either way. Tell us a little bit about the Southside Healthy Community Organization. I mean, this is a piece of the whole. This is a new service that you're able to provide, but tell us a little bit about what you all do on a regular basis.
Yes, so the Southside Healthy Community Organization, we are a nonprofit organization on the south side of Chicago designed to transform health and overall health care. We provide resources as well as different medical services for those who are on Medicaid or without health insurance. Just pretty much helping them access doctors as well as a full range of resources that can impact overall health. We do work with 13 hospitals, healthcare centers, as well as those community partners here on the south side of Chicago to bring these services. And the key part of this organization is that we have our community health workers, our nurse care coordinators embedded in all of these healthcare systems to ensure that our patients are navigated to these services. And so we don't just do maternal health, we do chronic care conditions such as hypertension prevention, diabetes prevention. We also have a behavioral health program. And so we want to ensure that our patients and residents on the south side are aware of these services free of charge, and that they can be connected with healthcare systems right in their own community.
How are you gearing up for, I mentioned before, the subsidies expiring, the ACA subsidies expiring, and premium skyrocketing for a lot of people? How are you gearing up to meet that time frame? Be it that you already help people who are either underinsured or lack insurance altogether, there could be more people looking for the services you provide.
So we do have a long-term sustainability plan, and we have been working tirelessly to ensure that we do have the funding outside of the government funding. And so we do have lined up some private donors that we do have funding with and through. And so we continue to outsource and just look for those philanthropic opportunities to ensure that we can continue to provide these services here on the South Side.
So wonderful announcement today. Again, you know, that this is just amazing what you all are doing, adding to the services that you all provide. And I wanted to make sure, you know, people understand that there's more to just the announcement today that you all are providing for people on a regular basis, especially as people are kind of wondering, okay, in the new year, I may need some extra help. We need to find all of the places that can provide the extra help that are possible for people.
And so in order to get connected to our services, we do ask people to go to southsidehealthycommunity.org to enroll in these type of services. Services are free of charge. They can come to our healthcare centers that we do have, but I do ask that you go to there. And then also we do have a phone number, 872-274-4688. Anyone is willingly available to answer any questions and get our patients and residents enrolled.
Kiana, how long have you been with the organization?
I have been with the organization for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And I have been in the field of maternal health for over 18 years.
Oh, wonderful. And what does it mean to you to connect with an organization like this and to provide the services that you all provide for the community that you provide it for?
It just truly warms my heart. When this organization was formed, it was formed out of the time when so many different healthcare institutions were dismantling. We only have 3 birthing hospitals on the south side of Chicago. So being a part of this organization, because I am from the South Side, it just warms my heart to know that we are continuing to serve those who are in deserts, those who are living in poverty and disparities, and just to ensure that we are providing a great service that's free of charge to our residents.
Well, thank you for the work that you do and the work that you've done to make things like this possible for so many people who need it. I look forward to seeing the options expand even more for people from the services that you all provide. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Anita.
Absolutely, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right, 2:57, everyone. Let's take a quick break, about 2 minutes, and then we're going to move into our 3 o'clock hour with a couple of different things that we're following right now. One, we're going to have a conversation, yes. Oh boy, we're getting ready for that press conference as the Kansas City Chiefs prepare to make a move. This is a hot conversation right now as they're moving across their border. Will the Bears do the same thing? Oh, we've got to see, but you can see the room is set up for a big announcement to be made. That should be happening any minute here. We're also going to talk about your weather and traveling. We have one of our reporters with the network who is going to be talking with us about that. And we're going to bring things back here at home to Aurora. The mayor is going to be joining us as they have just been named one of the best cities to move to in America. We'll be right back. 3:02 right now, and in the midst of a growing conversation about where the Bears' home of the future will be, we get the announcement today, the breaking news that the Kansas City Chiefs are on their way from Missouri to Kansas. And the big announcement is getting ready to happen here. You can see all of the players in the game, not actually on the field, who have come to get ready to make this announcement to the public right here as they are walking in. What a moment. And of course, so many people from here in our area watching this announcement very closely as we've been having our own conversations about whether the Chicago Bears could end up possibly in Northwest Indiana. I mean, we have pulled in legislators from Indiana, the mayors of Gary, and today the Chicago Bears are doing a site survey in Hammond, and there is just this possibility that seemed like it became more realistic as of Wednesday of last week. And for sure, this has to be the plot thickening as the Kansas City Chiefs switch borders. Will their name change, or will it still be the Kansas City Chiefs, just like it could be the Chicago Bears in Indiana? We will see what this announcement, how many details they give in this announcement. But what a moment for the Kansas City Chiefs today. Hadn't been the greatest season for them for sure. I mean, coming off of their string of Super Bowls, it's been a little disappointing, but this injects a lot of new energy into that area. Let's listen in.
I'm David Toland. I serve both as Lieutenant Governor and Secretary of Commerce, and it is an honor to welcome you to this historic announcement. Today has been made possible by a group of dedicated people on this stage, in this room, and around our state who came together. Led by Governor Kelly, leaders put political party aside, they put personal agendas aside, and they put our state's future above all else. And now today's announcement, which Governor Kelly will make momentarily, will represent the largest economic win in Kansas history. And this win will also cement Kansas as a global destination for sports and entertainment. And it seems like Governor Kelly and I are making major announcements every few months, from Panasonic to Merck Animal Health to Hilmar Cheese. And with today's announcement, the Kelly administration has now topped $30 billion in committed private sector investment and 80,000 jobs. But the best part is nothing is bigger than what we're going to announce today. Though, make no mistake, the Chiefs aren't just another economic win for Kansas. This is much bigger than that. The Chiefs are a part of who we are as Kansans. And now they'll be such an important part of our future for years and for generations to come. Let me speak about our governor now. Since the moment that Governor Kelly took office, she's been on a mission, first to get our state back on track, and then to invest in the future and to make sure that Kansas is the best place in America to raise a family. She has done just that. Years ago, Kansas was making headlines for the wrong reasons. But today, now, we're making national and global news, and this time, for all the right reasons. Our future in Kansas is very bright, thanks to the leadership of a transformative governor. Please welcome our governor, Laura Kelly.
What a moment there for Kansas. The governor is getting ready to speak about this Major achievement here. We were just hearing them talk about making now Kansas a global destination for sports and entertainment. $30 billion in private sector investments in Kansas, 80,000 jobs in the last year. But this, getting the Kansas City Chiefs to come on over from Missouri, is a huge crowning achievement for the state of Kansas. And again, it only thickens the plot as the Chicago Bears say, hey, if Illinois is not going to make it happen for us, why don't we look at Indiana? We shall see what comes of that decision that they have to do. But again, they are doing a site survey today as we get this major news from the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's talk a little bit about the season that is. It is the season for many, many things. The holiday season, when you're traveling and you're worried about, gathering with your family, what food is going to be on the table, is all your shopping done for the list. And the one thing that can put a wrench in things very quickly is the weather. And so we have Amalia, who is joining us now to tell us a little bit about this major system that could impact a lot of holiday travel. Amalia Roy. Amalia, can you hear us in Chicago?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful. Tell us a little bit about this system out there and what you're seeing. What airport are you at right now?
Sorry, I can't hear right now.
Amalia, it's Anita Blanton here in Chicago. Can you hear me?
No, I can, yes.
Okay, all right. We were just wanting you to tell us a little bit about holiday travel and this system. We keep hearing about a system that should impact the North and Northeast residents. What airport are you at, and what are you hearing about any impacts?
I'm here at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. Now, I am in the area where you will see a lot of that flooding warnings. More the West Coast, California, where I'm going home to San Francisco. But so far, I haven't seen any direct warnings about flight cancellations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's good to hear. Is it busier than what you typically see, or is this what you're seeing around you? I mean, I see a little hustle and bustle going on. Is that pretty typical for that airport?
I'm here pretty much weekly, and I've definitely seen a lot more people today. I was downstairs at baggage claim, and there you'll see waves of people waiting around the carousel, waiting for their bags, many flights stacked on top of each other. And so it gets pretty busy down there. And same thing with security, where it will be waves of crowds, and you'll see them moving along pretty quickly. But then you'll see, you look behind me, it looks like any regular airport day. We're also in the middle of the travel period. This is not one of the top days that we're going to see that rush. Sunday after Christmas, we're expecting, I think it was TSA said, around 3 million people passing through checkpoints across the country.
Yeah. So maybe most people have kind of headed to the airports like Friday, and maybe they've gotten to where they need to be before, of course, trying to come back wherever they've just left by Sunday. Let me ask you, when you're speaking to some of the experts at the airport, as you're doing your news gathering today, what are the things that they're telling travelers to keep in mind?
It's always what you hear really any time of the year with air travel, but especially when you know you're going to have those higher volume days. Get to the airport early. Don't go last minute. Don't hope that you're going to get through security very fast. They are telling people to remember their Real ID compliant identification. We know that more enforcement of that is coming later in 2026. But those are some top ones, and it's also just planning for, there are possible delays, especially if I look at the board here. I've been here from throughout the morning, going into the afternoon. The longer I'm here, the more I see delays, the more I see cancellations coming.
Amalia Roy, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and I hope you get home safe as well for the holidays.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, everyone. So we just wanted to have a moment where we could kind of check in on how things are going at different airports. Again, the Northeast expected to have a major system, and that could cause some issues, but hopefully most people will be okay. I mean, where she was in Phoenix, she said things didn't look too bad right now. Let's keep it that way. We would love to see that. One of the things that we have been talking about here at home is just these different areas, and we've talked a lot about today, pro-business, anti-business sentiments. What are the things that make an area, a place that businesses want to go, a destination for them? Because obviously, as businesses thrive, the hope is that you would have more residents coming to your area, or at least the residents that you have there feel like, man, we are a city that's really on fire. And that leads us to our next conversation. The city of Aurora, right here in our area, has been named one of the best cities to move to in America by MRI Software's Move In Magnet Index. And the mayor is joining me now. Mayor Lash, thanks so much for your time. Mayor, I can't hear you. I don't know if you're on mute on your end or ours.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, we want to make sure everybody can hear about what makes Aurora the best city to move to.
Well, the reason I moved here back in 2008 was I grew up in West Africa. I had lived in the Middle East, and I wanted a city that was very diverse, and that is what Aurora is. I think we're number one in the state of Illinois for diversity as well as affordability. We do have some affordable housing options here. Moving forward, this is going to be a critical piece of my administration, is to not just focus on affordable housing, but also energy efficient, sustainable housing that's very futuristic, that young people want to live in, and to try and predict what the market's going to be and then take us there so we have a strong, thriving economy with living wage jobs that can't be replaced by AI.
And it really is about, how do you take a city that is doing well into the future? And that will, obviously require some new things, doing some new things. Do you feel like the city is on board to do new things? Or is it more of a, hey, we're doing really well, let's keep it just like this?
So I think the approach is to make sure that we keep doing what's working well. The previous two administrations have worked very hard on our downtown and done a good job developing this into a theater town built around the Paramount Theater that we have here. We have some exciting shows going on right now, as well as the Stolp Island Theater just extended $1 Million Quartet. It seems to be performing much better than it did last summer. So we're going to be keeping that around. So I want to maintain the theater aspect, continue to build and grow, and developing a cultural arts center, and continue to develop that as sort of a regional entertainment hub. We've also invested heavily in River Edge Park. But at the same time, we need to think about a long-term sustainable future, where the job's going to be. How do we grapple with data centers that are popping up all over and meet their energy needs? And, in my opinion, try and bring more living wage jobs to this area so that people who live and work in Aurora can afford to live here and patronize restaurants and support those businesses that have decided to call Aurora home.
Mm-hmm. You are in the company on this list of Nashua, New Hampshire, and Cleveland, Ohio. What does that mean to you to be in that company?
I've never been to either of those places, so I would say Aurora probably deserves to be at the top, just maybe because I don't know enough about them. But if I ever visit them, I'll see what they're doing well and what we can borrow from them, and maybe they'll come here and see what we're doing successfully.
Yeah, and you mentioned jobs. They said that they looked at a city's job availability, cost of living, overall safety, and that they're seeing a shift this year towards smaller, safer, more affordable cities. I mean, you're not a small city by far.
Nope, second largest city in Illinois. And growing. We were miscounted, I believe, in our census back in 2020, so we need to be recounted, but I'm pretty sure we're over 210,000 residents. And I would say growing as well. We've added a lot of new construction and are currently working on several other deals that'll expand. What we're trying to do is focus on home ownership instead of the rental market. There's been a national trend towards more rentals, but we want to see more home ownership because that makes a more stable and safe community where people have some financial wealth to pass on to the next generation.
Yeah, generational wealth is super important, and you see great divides where that is concerned. So talk a little bit more to me about bringing the city of Aurora into this next generation in a more cohesive way.
So I think number one is let's just talk about keeping what's working a little bit, in that our downtown is growing. We have a booming Christkindl marketplace right now, and a lot of traffic and congestion in our downtown, similar to that you may have seen at the airports recently as everybody is going in and out of town. But we do need to expand our parking to accommodate some of the businesses and the theaters downtown, as well as the Christkindl marketplace. So that's going to be one of my 1 to 2 year goals, is making sure that we have adequate parking. The bigger picture, though, is I'm very focused on climate sustainability and energy efficiency. I'm BPI certified union carpenter who has done a lot of this construction, pioneered a class through our Carpenters Training Center. And the way I'm looking at it, if you see on the affordability front, the cost of energy is starting to escalate dramatically as ComEd and others are finding ways to pass on the cost of expanding infrastructure for data centers to residents. And so by making more energy efficient housing stock, we're going to have a commodity that people want, especially younger people and people that are thinking about their pocketbooks. They're going to want to move here. So there's a fella here in the Fox Valley who pioneered the German passive house, doesn't have pioneered it here in bringing it here in the United States. Doesn't use a conventional heating or cooling system. People that live in those homes have very affordable heating and cooling bills. They're next to nothing. So having that futuristic look and creating the housing market that younger people want and want to come here, I think is going to be a component as we continue to build on the successes of the previous administrations that have come before me.
Well, listen, on the MRI software move-in magnet index, you may be number 2 in America, but as I'm looking at the list of who you're among, you're number 1 in our hearts, since you're the only ones from Illinois.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for what you do.
Well, our motto has been second to none.
There you go. There you go. Thanks so much for what you do and taking a little time in this busy season for us. We appreciate it. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to you. Thank you.
Take care. 3:20, everyone. Let's take a quick break, 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's 3:23, and we're going to continue on with our conversations here. We're actually staying in Aurora for this next conversation. So a moment ago, we were speaking with the mayor of Aurora about all the things that make Aurora such a wonderful place for move-in magnets index to actually call them one of the best cities to move to in the country. Well, if you're in Aurora, you probably know that a Fox Valley Mall is a special place, but do you know about something that's nestled inside of it now that could help so many people who are in need? I want to bring in April Foreman to talk about Light of the World charitable giving machines. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you, Anita, for having me. Yeah, we are very excited to be in Aurora at the Fox Valley Mall. The giving machines are part of the Light the World initiative from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we are in the mall until January 1st. And you can see behind me, I have kind of a pop-up of what these machines look like. It is a charitable vending machine with a twist, and when you approach, you have 30 different choices, and you get to pick from a baby wipes for $2 all the way on up to another choice for $250 to help students with study tools, or our friends who are in one of the schools, Little Friends, locally, that is a community outing for 10 students. And we have so many different choices there.
Tell us a little bit about the need that these machines are meeting.
You know, we really work with the charities. My colleague Jamie and I, we work with all of our charities to really bring out the 5 choices that each charity needs the most of. And every single card is a need for an individual that really will help them. And we have so many different needs in our community, but we have needs for people who don't have food, needs people who can't access education, and we're fulfilling each of those different needs. One of my favorite cards this year is the vegetable seeds, and that's with Ada S. McKinley that mainly serves the south side of Chicago, and they have seeds for community gardens.
That's awesome. And there are many charities that you're working with here. Let's just go over the list of the charities that you're working with for this initiative.
Yeah, we have Ronald McDonald House, and it's the Chicagoland and Northwest charity, Northwest Indiana charity. We have Ada S. McKinley, Loaves and Fishes, Little Friends, Catholic Charities Diocese of Joliet, Watts of Love, Loaves and Fishes, which is the largest food bank in Illinois, and then Watts of Love, and then international we have Care USA and Right to Play.
Mm-hmm. And how did you all go about selecting those charities and connecting with those charities?
Oh, that's a great question. We actually have a full application process. We've actually opened our application for 2026, and we will have that up on our website shortly. But charities need to go through that process. They have to be in business for 5 years. They can't take more than 10% overhead, and they do have to commit to whatever the machine item is, to giving that money to specifically that item, and then the church covers 100% of all the operating costs.
Wow, what a gift for them. Explain how this works for people who are thinking, wait a minute, a charity giving machine. Like, explain how it works.
You're right. It can be a little confusing, and I've lived in it for 3 years. So you walk up to the machine, and it looks similar to a vending machine, and you type in the code. So you want vegetable seeds, you might type in 127, and it'll ask you, do you want that? We only accept electronic payment. And then the card will literally fall to the bottom, but you won't actually receive anything. So this is a visual representation of giving, but not receiving. And then you can go take a picture in our photo op with a card of what you chose. It's a really great tool also to teach children about giving. They can visually see the needs that our community has.
Mm-hmm. Where did it come from? I mean, where did the idea come from, and how long have these been around?
So these machines have been around since 2017. It was a conversation that was had, one of those napkin conversations with a representative of the church of how could we make charity fun, giving, and repeatable. And this is our answer to the gift to our community to unite and serve our communities in a fun, repeatable way. And
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Nina. I was just going to say, and since 2017, we've actually earned over $50 million for charity worldwide.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to step on you being able to say that. That is awesome. So people can also just buy out the machine, right?
Right. We have a 777 jackpot donation, and you would buy all the 30 choices in the machine for $1,970.
That's tremendous. I mean, it's tremendous. What does it mean to you to be able to, help so many different people? I mean, people from all walks of life are represented from these different organizations.
Well, it's a privilege to be part of the Giving Machine Committee and to be here representing them. I think my biggest privilege, though, is the opportunity to give people to learn to give and experience the joy of giving. When a child comes up to the machines are lit. And when a child walks up, we get to see the joy in their face when they get to give to somebody else. And that's, I think, the biggest privilege I get. Every time a machine is bought, 490 individuals in the Chicagoland area and worldwide are impacted in ways that will change their lives and often get them out of generational poverty. And so it's just a joy and a privilege to work on this project.
Really tremendous stuff. And how do you choose Fox Valley Mall as the place for the machine?
To be honest, they said yes.
That works.
They were one of the places that were really interested in our pitch, and they actually have been a wonderful partner and work with us with Little Friends each year, one of the partners, and they even go serve lunch with us to their children, to their adult daycare session.
Oh, how wonderful. Again, this is going to be there at Fox Valley Mall until January 1st, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we certainly hope that people will go buy the Giving Machine and quite literally go buy the Giving Machine and help out people in our area. Thank you so much for what you do throughout the year and helping in this wonderful way, giving so many other people an opportunity, an easy opportunity to give back in the community.
Thanks so much.
All right, you take care. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thanks.
3:31, everyone. I love it. I absolutely love it. We've just had some, again, great ways for people to give back during the holiday season. And I love that we've had the opportunity to be able to showcase the many different ways that you can, and the fact that it really doesn't cost a lot. In that Giving Machine, $2 for baby wipes and hygiene supplies for a newborn, $10 for basic food supplies like milk, eggs, and cheese for a local family, $35 for 2 chickens to help a woman earn an income, $95 for an overnight stay at the local Ronald McDonald House. Several of us here at the station have gone over to the Ronald McDonald House here downtown and did some work there with them. They are doing amazing things to help families when they are in their lowest moments sometimes. You end up in the hospital, your child ends up in the hospital, you don't know how long they're going to be there. Some of these families are there for extended periods of time. I remember one story, in fact, of a mother who was saying her child, for the first year of her child's life, was there 265 days. With 365 days of the year, they were there 265 days. Incredible circumstances that a family ends up in, and you don't plan on something like that. And so they could use all the help that they can get. The Ronald McDonald House does so much good for these families, especially if you have other children, having to commute back and forth so that your other children can go, the price goes through the roof for these families is all I'm trying to say. And this is a way for $95 that you can help them in a small way. And all you have to do is go up to a vending machine and help out. Or you can buy the whole vending machine, $1,970 to buy the entire machine. That is every item that's in there. Awesome concept, easy for all of us. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. 3:38 right now, and boy, things have really gotten complicated in this conversation about where the home of the Bears will be in the future because of what just happened today for Kansas City Chiefs. You can see this was the room where it happened, if we go back to Hamilton. But, this is the room where they just made the announcement that the Kansas City Chiefs are going from Missouri to Kansas. It is a monumental moment for that team, but also it begins to make you wonder, could the Bears do something of the same? I mean, there are articles today that we know that the Bears are doing some site surveys in Hammond even today as we speak, kind of looking at the soil there, trying to see if it's a viable option for them to cross the border, going over into Northwest Indiana. We spoke with the mayor of Gary on Friday, and he talked about the fact that, hey, I mean, you can still see the Chicago skyline from Gary. It's not far. They believe it's a good option for the Chicago Bears to look at. And now we see that the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been on this same journey, actually started it before the Bears, have now come up with their option. And that is to move across the border from Missouri into Kansas. So in a way, moving into Kansas for the Kansas City Chiefs kind of makes sense, right? But it has been quite the journey for them. I mean, I initially remember when this conversation first started for the Kansas City Chiefs, they were the hot team. Think about where we are right now. We're the hot team, Chicago Bears. They were the hot team at the time. They were coming off of a Super Bowl, and they said, hey, we need a new stadium because the stadium, having the new stadium, a domed stadium, gives them so many more options than what they had with the open air stadium that they had. Well, it became an actual election issue on the ballot, and the people of Missouri said no. Super Bowl winning champs. And the people of Missouri said no. I mean, if you think about how many different things are weighing on people's pockets right now, that's understandable too. The people said, no, we're not going to fund this new stadium in the midst of all of these different issues that we have as just everyday people. We don't want more coming out of our pockets to go to a new stadium for the Chiefs. But here's the flip side, is that now they have found a new home. And it is across the border in Kansas. One of the things that it kind of came up as a possibility, seemed like a long shot a few years ago, and now it's actually happening. They just made that announcement that it is actually happening, that the Kansas City Chiefs are going from Missouri to Kansas. And again, it comes on a day when trucks and drilling equipment for the Bears in Northwest Indiana right now. On Wednesday of last week, the CEO and president, Kevin Warren, sent out that letter to Bears fans and said they're going to expand their possibilities. They have talked about renovating Soldier Field. Well, there's only so much you could do at Soldier Field. They came out with the full layout for what they wanted to do a little further down on the lakefront. That was a no-go too. There were Friends of the Park, Friends of the Lake that said no. You can't build there. That site was not a viable option for them. The legislators in Springfield said, hey, we might be able to give you some money if you go a little further down, go to the old Michael Reese site, and maybe we could help you because it would be redevelopment of an area that then they could pitch in on, not just saying like, oh, we want something bright and shiny, but no, make it purposeful, and maybe there's something we can do. That conversation didn't go far. Arlington Heights, and they bought the property, Arlington Heights. And so you thought, surely Arlington Heights is getting ready to happen. No, the legislators said we're not in a fiscal environment as a state to be able to say that this can be a priority for 2026. And so in that letter, We heard from Kevin Warren saying if we're not going to be a priority in 2026, we are moving on. Let's listen into a bit of this press conference on the back half of their announcement there in Kansas.
That could last at least 50 or 60 years. Secondly, we believe it's the best thing for the region. It will give Kansas City the opportunity to bid on events that we can't host right now, like Super Bowls, college football playoffs, NCAA Final Fours. And then third, from a timeline standpoint, we really had gotten to a point where we needed to make a decision. It takes 5+ years to build a stadium, and our lease at Arrowhead runs for just over 5 years at this point. So we needed to go ahead and make a decision and get to work on it.
So where did Missouri come up short in their offer? $4 billion cut. Where did Missouri come up short in their offer?
So we had a great dialogue with Missouri all the way through the end of last week. Just frankly, not everything was resolved that needed to be resolved. The big difference is we were working with one party here, the state of Kansas, and in Missouri we were working with the governor's office, the county, and also the city. And we just didn't get there from a timeline standpoint.
What do you say to the fans who are attached to Arrowhead that have this long-standing tradition? What do you say to those fans?
Yeah, so I think every Chiefs fan loves Arrowhead, and certainly I fall into that category. It is a special place. We all have a bunch of really great memories at Arrowhead, but this decision is really about the future. We're going to be investing in a stadium that can last for multiple generations of Chiefs fans, and that's, again, a big part of the reason why we made the decision.
Are you going to tear down Arrowhead?
We haven't had that kind of discussion yet with the county. The building's owned by the county, so that'll really be their decision.
Some Jackson County residents tell me they feel betrayed and they're worried about the tailgate experience. What would you say to them?
Yeah, well, first of all, we all feel some pain on leaving Arrowhead. And as I mentioned, I'll be at the top of the list on that. One of the great things about Arrowhead is the tailgate experience. We did a survey about a year ago, and the survey respondents told us two things that were really important to them if we ended up building a new stadium. First of all, it needed to be really loud, and secondly, it needed to have a great tailgate experience. And so we'll work really hard on both of those to make sure that we deliver something that's as good or better than they have now.
What is the total investment in the project overall, in the practice facilities, the headquarters, and the stadium? What is that?
So the stadium we estimate will be approximately $3 billion. The practice facility will be approximately $300 million. And then we have committed to do a mixed-use district that will have at least $700 million invested, both in Olathe and Wyandotte County, and it could go up from there.
So we're definitely talking a dome.
Yes, it was important to the state of Kansas that we build a dome, and really as we look to the future, I think that makes the most sense. I'll come back to my comments about building a facility that can host big events. Kansas City will now be able to do that. One of the first things we'll do when we get going on the project is talk to the NFL about a Super Bowl.
One or two more. What's the ownership contribution? Both the practice facility project and the stadium?
So both of those projects are 60-40 public-private partnership, so it would be 40% of the $3.3 billion.
Clark, will personal seat licenses be part of this new stadium? And what range would they be?
We haven't made a decision on that. We'll be looking at the overall financing here in the coming months in terms of how we put that together. Every new NFL stadium that's been built in the last 10 or 20 years has included personal seat licenses, but we've not made a decision yet.
It would be an upset if they weren't there, though, if it's not the way everyone's doing it?
We've just not made a decision.
Last question.
What about capacity?
What are going to be the next 5 years like at Arrowhead, the emotions of knowing your time there is remembered?
We're going to cherish every season there. I think it'll be special for our family, it'll be special for the organization and all of our fans. We all have so many special memories there, and we're really going to celebrate Arrowhead because it deserves that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, as we've been listening in there, the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs was just kind of giving an ad hoc press conference after the big press conference, talking about this major announcement that the Kansas City Chiefs are indeed going from Missouri to Kansas. And he talked a little bit about like kind of peeling back the decision-making process there. The reporters asked, where did Missouri come up short? I actually saw a friend of mine who is a reporter and anchor there in Missouri, and asking, where did Missouri come up short? He said they had a great dialogue. He said they love Arrowhead Stadium, but this is about the future. Again, keep this all in mind as we have our own conversations here in Chicago about where the Bears will be in the future, moving into the future. They anticipated having shovels in the ground somewhere in 2026. And so the letter from Kevin Warren last week said, if we're not going to be a priority for the state of Illinois in 2026, we have to look elsewhere, and gave Indiana as a possibility. Going back to Kansas there, and this conversation about the Chiefs now moving, they said this is a $3.3 billion deal. It's 60-40 private public funds. Remember that aspect of it. Private and public funds was another part of, again, the contention. Another point of contention with the state government was that where are the public funds? What public is paying for it? If you think about Soldier Field, it's not paid off yet. So where are the public funds coming from? I mean, there have been plenty of discussions as to how to make that happen, but it at some point in time does come back to the public's pocketbooks. And so Clark Hunt was saying that fans, what they wanted most from a new stadium is that they want it to be loud with good tailgating in that new stadium that they are going to now have in Kansas. So I kind of looked up as he was talking, well, what are the domed stadiums of the NFL? I love to go to new stadiums, kind of check them out and be able to compare them and contrast them with Soldier Field. I mean, we all love Soldier Field from a feel-good perspective, especially right now, and especially over the weekend. You see a big Bears win, and you're thinking like, oh man, we are riding high. We have clinched this spot going to the playoffs. But of course, for an owner or a president of a team, you have to think bigger than that. You have to think bigger than just the game that is, or the playoffs that will be. But what is the future? That is their job, is to look forward, to have a vision moving forward. So there are about 10 NFL stadiums with domes or roofs in the NFL right now. Caesar Superdome, Ford Field, US Bank, Allegiant Stadium, SoFi Stadium, and retractable, that would be AT&T, State Farm, Lucas Oil, NRG, and Mercedes-Benz down in New Orleans. And if you think about those places where you have a domed stadium, then it just opens up so many more options for the team to be financially set for the future, whether they're able to host college games, basketball games, when it comes time for March Madness, whether they're able to host large scale events larger than what you can do with the outdoor. Some of them, the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, you can't have it at a Soldier Field. So they're looking forward. They're looking bigger and trying to figure out where that can be. And of course, for the Bears, it's a bit of a pickle. I mean, when the Kansas City Chiefs began their discussions, they were coming off of a Super Bowl. I always like to come back to that part of the discussion, that they were coming off of a Super Bowl. And even coming off of a Super Bowl win, let's just make that even more clear. It wasn't just making it to a Super Bowl, but coming off of a Super Bowl win. When that vote went to the public, it was a no. No one was willing to pay for a new stadium there. And so for the Bears to be at the beginning of their conversation and looking at what the Chiefs were going through, I mean, they were bold in still asking the question, but it then begged the question, if the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions, can't even get a new stadium in their state, how could you? How could you fathom, or how could the public here fathom thinking at that time we weren't even a winning team? To ask that question of the public when we're not even going to games where they're winning. Oh, the environment has changed quite a bit between then and now on many fronts. Now we're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs actually getting what they want, but they had to go across the border from Missouri to Kansas to get what they want. The environment has changed quite a bit. Now we're looking at a different environment where the Bears are a winning team. We as a collective all had this moment together. You know, it really unified everyone on Saturday night, seeing the Bears rally and stick to it and fight through it and come out with a win and clinch a playoff spot. I mean, it's been 5 years since we've, had that opportunity. And it's been so long since we've all been able to feel this high together. So the environment has shifted, and so too has the conversation. When Kevin Warren says we're going to look at Indiana. In fact, today, the Northwest Indiana Times has an article where they say that the Chicago Bears are conducting preliminary testing on a potential stadium site in Hammond that borders the city of Chicago and lies in the shadow, this is just what they have, Northwest Indiana Times, of the Midwest's largest oil refinery. As the Bears won a thrilling overtime walk-off victory against the rival Packers, trucks and drilling equipment were dispatched this weekend, according again to the Northwest Indiana Times, to Wolf Lake in North Hammond's Robertsdale neighborhood to scout out a potential replacement for Soldier Field. We will see what happens, but clearly they're exercising all options. Again, they've looked at many different sites here in Chicagoland, and if you talk to people in Northwest Indiana, yes, it is still Chicagoland as well, but they have looked at several sites here throughout Illinois, and now, especially now, seeing what happens with the Kansas City Chiefs, maybe Northwest Indiana becomes much more of a viable, realistic option for them as well. Let's take a quick break and then we'll close things out here. All right, everyone, getting ready to head out of here right now. Just to put a bow on that conversation about the Kansas City Chiefs, they will move following the 2031 season. We are awaiting President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the Secretary of the Navy to have a press conference. It should be beginning momentarily. We're going to go to the news at 4, and any time that it begins, we will take it to you live, both here online and on air. We will see you back here for more Chicago Live tomorrow from 1 to 4.